now. Holy shit, folks.
I always remind people, I am suspended for life for minor hockey.
It's my duty to please the booty.
Did you catch a rattlesnake and then drive home with it in your car holding it the whole time?
Yep.
Phil only drinks Coke. He doesn't drink water. I'll fucking quit.
Fugazis.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 447 of Spittin Chiclets, presented by Pink Whitney from our friends at New Amsterdam Vodka here in the Barstool Sports podcast family. What's going on, everyone? Fun times in the hockey world right now. The cup is in full swing. Front offices are playing musical chairs, and the boys are hitting the road once again this week. So let's go around the table, say hello. Colby Armstrong, welcome to the show, my friend. How you doing?
I'm doing good, boys. Double dipping, a couple jobs here and there. Went up to Toronto for a day, back and forth. My flight got canceled. Whitty, I don't want to get into
Pearson? Pearson?
No, I couldn't get into Pearson. They wouldn't even send a plane to Pittsburgh to get me. It just fell apart. I had to drive. Needless to say, 24-hour travel day to work, and I got that all done. Got home last night just in time for puck drop. Amazing. Like literally walked in the door. Guy was finishing the anthem. Awesome timing. So Golden Pipes. Yeah, he was ripping it up. Busy. You were on location. I'm sure that was amazing. But that was my kind of little bit of weekend with some travel with a little extra work added into it. So all right, good to be with you, buddy. Good to be with the boys.
Always a pleasure to have you. The biz man. You doing a little traveling yourself? You're a little tired there? You went from
Army's plane actually came to pick us up in Vegas and drove us to Lauderdale. Pretty cool though. Like I think we were supposed to fly out this morning out of Vegas, but of course 99 said, I think we should probably just take a bird, do the red eye, and he got us a private jet. So that was pretty fucking awesome. I got to sit on there, listen to him tell these old school hockey stories as he always tells, and it's a fairy tale. I pinch myself every time, boys. But as far as that experience in that building, oh my fucking eardrums are blown out. That was they must have cranked it up 10 more notches as far as the game ops are concerned. What a show that they put on. So I'm looking forward to diving into this hockey. But overall, it was a fun time in Vegas. Excited to be in Lauderdale now and excited to see the crew for game 4 in Lauderdale. All right, you're already ready. Why are you wearing shades at 9:45 in the morning?
Because
he looked like shit.
Yeah, I have wicked bed face because I'm not usually up this early. When you're tired, you get up and you just look like shit, like
10
more than
a.m.
usual.
folks, by the way. 10 a.m.
I just didn't get a good night's sleep. I look like shit. So Shady Rays, man. Shady Rays takes care
Unbelievable, though, Busy. You get to fly PJs with the great one all over the place.
Dude,
like, what the fuck?
How about
this is
one?
unreal.
Who was on there, Biz? Just like you five from the panel?
So Jackie Redmond joined us.
Like
Darren,
the crew, Panger.
Yeah, Panger. Boucher.
Just a big bird.
Yeah, Brian Boucher was actually on there. Oh my God, he was doing impersonations.
Yeah, he's
of
sick at that, hey?
Oh my God, he might be the funniest hockey impersonator.
Really?
We got to get him on the pod. We have to get him on the pod.
Absolutely.
Who was he doing?
Jonesy, Edzo, like anybody was fair game. He did Ray Ferraro. His Ray Ferraro is 20 out of 10. So we gotta get him on it. Who is the black guy who used to mimic all the rappers? Like he could do Snoop Dogg and then he could do Jay-Z. Like that guy.
Jared Carmichael?
I've seen that on Instagram.
No,
before.
Isaac something. Is that his name?
He was on Mad TV, I think.
I know the guy. He does.
It's actually crazy how good he is, though.
He does Chris Rock, and his fingers are exactly the same too.
It's Jay Farrow, I think.
Jay Farrow. That's what it is.
He was doing Edzo, and he'd be like, "Listen, hey, listen here." Like he just had. I don't do a good job.
That wasn't good.
No, fuck me. Hey, I'm running on 2 hours sleep.
Cancel Boucher, G. Cancel Boucher.
Shit. But as far as obviously hanging around with the great ones, the best. Like his hockey mind and his like the fact that he can remember all these stories. But anyway, he plans a dinner at this. Was it called Yellowtail? This awesome sushi restaurant at the Bellagio. So we go there and everybody obviously gets the wood chopsticks, and then they fucking bring them out these special chopsticks. They're gold plated on the end. Wayne Gretzky.
Dude, he's got his own choppies.
Buddy, I'm gonna send this picture. I'm going to send this picture
and they
to the
say
group.
99.
He goes, hey, Biz, he goes, you can use them for the meal. So I used his chopsticks. So he let me
all of a sudden, the sushi was falling apart as Biz is using it.
That's the equivalent, Busy, of if you played with him and he let you like use a stick for practice.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah.
Dude, how
So-
about Bedard just chirping you?
Bro,
Actually,
no.
dude, since we recorded, you've had Bettman and Bedard
Oh, my-
bury you.
Here's my shit list. Number one,
Yes.
Kyle Dubas.
Mhm.
Number 2, Kyle Dubas. Number 3, Gary Bettman. Number 4, Connor Bedard. And the only way Connor Bedard can get off the shit list is if he joins us for an interview at the draft. That's the only way. Put me in a fucking body
Do you think
bag.
Fantilli's ahead of him now because of that?
I would say it's Fantilli. Is it Erickson or Carlson?
Carlson, Mitchkov, Will Smith, then Bedard's going
Bedard.
5th in business draft.
He's dropping down to the Coyotes. That should be his punishment. But overall, man, it was like I said, it was a pretty wild 2 games, and we're gonna get into these, but great experience, and looking forward to seeing you boys. And I'll throw it back over to you, Rear.
That's funny.
And I'm going to say hello to the Wit Dog, Ryan Whitney. All set for the trip, man? For what? You all packed and ready to go?
Yeah, somewhat. Life's a little bit of a gong show around these parts right now. I spent Sunday, so like my wife had a doctor's appointment out in Western Mass, like Lenox, Massachusetts, way out there. And it was on Monday, so her birthday's today, so we decided to, go together and spend Sunday. Dude, she like wanted to go to this. My wife's like a junkie for like these wellness places. I don't know if your guys' wives are into
Get like
the
hot
wellness
stones
stuff.
and everything, or what?
Wellness
Like
stuff
jewels.
is an absolute like
Racket.
I got a plenty of opinions on the whole wellness industry in the world these days. They're everywhere. It's like, but we went to this one. It was pretty nice. It's like Miraval or something. I guess there's one in Arizona. But I felt like I was in rehab. Like we're sitting around having dinner, and it's just like these like chimes and like soft like massage music. And,
Love that.
yeah, dude, not while you're eating dinner. I'm looking for a little like, I don't know, top 40 hits or old school jams. And like I'm walking down the hallway, and like I understand in a massage, you have the chimes and that type stuff. I don't need that like walk. I felt like I was legit RA at rehab. Like no offense, RA. I know you haven't been yet. But I really was like, all right, well, so it was a fun day. I went to the gym finally for the first time in forever. Now I'm sore as shit, as you could tell by the heat pack on my neck. What else? What else did you ask me? Oh yeah, I would say, I guess I should maybe save this.
Did you get a facial? Did you get a facial?
I got a massage. I got a deep tissue, and I wanted to listen to something on my headphone because the golf was on, so I wanted to have my phone down and the golf on. So I was like, hey, miss, I'm just going to have something in my headphones. Like, I don't, no worries. Like, she's like, I have huge clients in New York. I have lawyers. I have businessmen. They do deals, like, while I'm massaging them. Like, it's okay. I was like, yeah, sick. I was just telling you I was watching the Memorial final round. Like, all right. But then she does the typical, like, I'm like, you can go a little harder. Okay. You can go a little harder. Okay. I'm like, you have to go harder. She's like, okay. And then by the end, I'm like, all right, this is a Swedish touch.
Yeah, she's just like this.
I'm like, this is useless. And by the way, I have another thing where I despise falling asleep during massage. And if it's a correct massage, you'll never fall asleep because it should actually hurt a little bit the whole time. That is what a massage that helps your body does. It hurts. There's pain involved. I know it sounds, but I end up falling asleep.
Sounds like S&M.
BDSM.
That's fine by me. That's fine. But then it's like, all right, well, I fell asleep because you were like tickling my back. And in the end, I woke up. I don't even remember it. So I didn't get to enjoy it. And I didn't want to enjoy it to begin with because my hips are killing me and my neck's mangled. So whatever. Wellness is for the birds, but my wife loves that stuff.
You know, my theory is they do that and then you fall asleep and they don't
do anything.
You don't have to work. She's sitting there cutting deals.
Yeah, I actually want to pretend fall asleep to just then turn around and see her on her phone.
Catch
there.
her,
Like,
yeah.
I think that's happened. And the other thing that pissed me off.
Do you do a dude massage, Whit? Or
What?
you're
No, I would
like,
never. I would
Yeah,
never.
you're like,
unless
girl.
it was the guy from the team. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. I just don't want.
I mean, if it's last resort, I'm okay with a dude. Like, I mean, what are you gonna do, right?
Hey, I'm Rick. You want my elbow in your asshole? I'll take Teresa. But I mean, all of our masseuses for the teams were guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
For some reason, it was just like different. Like I know them. They're part of the team. Like I don't want Gary from fucking Elements Massage to be touching me. But hold on. So
Okay,
Biz,
sorry.
It's an 80-minute massage, 3 to 4:20. Okay.
Ooh, nice.
They come in and get me at 3:07. I'm like, all right. In my head, I'm like, all right, I'll go till 4:27. She like finishes up, like she's like, whatever, like gets the robe out. They heated up the robe, which was nice. There was like a heat under the bed.
That's nice. That's
so
classy.
I put on the hot robe. I get out, I check my phone, it's 4:18. So it was actually a 60-minute massage.
She undercut you.
I paid for 80, bitches. And I didn't even say anything. I've taken an enormous leap as a person, and I just ate it. Miraval ran my show, but whatever, it was fine. 2-hour ride home.
That's a big reason as why I refuse to buy into these, like not only just spas, but any masseuse place you go, because of what you just said. Like you buy the hour and a half, and then you get they jip you out of fucking 15 minutes of it.
Crazy.
They don't go hard enough. But I got this girl that I trust in Arizona. Her name's Cody. She did all the football players. Larry Fitzgerald. I went to a softball tournament, and that's where I ended up meeting her. Buddy, she beats the fucking wheels off you.
That's awesome.
She gets on the table with you, and then she takes the arch of her foot, and she'll go right into your groin all the way up to your fucking right to your ball
Just give
sack.
you the gas pedal.
TSA style.
Buddy, she'll give you.
She's got a big toe right in your cornhole.
But like you said, like she'll get on the table with you and be stretching you and like and pushing her arch like into your groin to flush your groin, because that's where your what is the lymph nodes.
Yeah.
She'll flush the blood to the lymph nodes. Like this girl is a black belt in massage. So I hear you and feel your pain, and especially at the fact that you're probably getting bent over in price for that massage.
I didn't even look. I didn't even look.
Could you please look on your credit card and let us know how much you got bent over for?
The room, dude, this is Western Massachusetts. It's like the room was like $1,800 for a night. I'm like, what is? She's like, this is wellness. This is wellness. I'm like, it's fucking wellness, all right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
my bank account's gonna be like a well at the end of this thing.
They're like, hey, Mr. Whitney, here's your 4-ounce Wagyu that's been marinated in essential oils for 15 days.
Yeah.
Here's a fig and a stick and a branch in there alongside it. You're like, thanks.
And it's like,
500.
and then like the next morning, she had the doctors, right? Well, the whole place is like a device-free area because it's all about like wellness in your brain and all that. And I'm sitting there with a headphone in, like I'm like reading stuff on the first game because Saturday night we're there Sunday, whatever, it was Monday morning. I'm just like, and this guy comes over, he's like, sir, no phones. I go, hey, buddy. I go, I just got
I'm keeping the lights on.
I go, I just got an 80-minute massage for 40 minutes. The room's $1,800, and this chicken parm was about 3 inches big. So I'm gonna read my phone in silence here, and you gotta please step away from my table. He's like, I gotcha. I was so annoyed, like device-free zone. I'm not talking to anyone. I'm not talking on the phone. I'm sitting in the back corner by myself like this. Like, leave me alone. Wellness.
Can you imagine that hell of your inside your own brain sitting there by yourself in that moment?
My brain's all over the place right now. Bree's taking the kids and my mom and her mom to Portugal on Friday for a week. So like,
I'm jealous.
I know. I've actually always
Wait,
wanted
if you
to go.
come on this podcast and talk about another vacation, I'm going to lose my fucking mind.
I'm not on the vacations, bro.
Not this
I'm
one.
not on the vacations.
Between you and every member of your family, every episode for the last 20, somebody's been on vacation.
Yeah, I'm rich, bitch. Like, you're working your bag off to try to become rich. I'm rich. I'm sending them all around the world. But I'm not going. I'm not in Costa Rica. I'm not in Portugal. I'm grinding away at a wellness retreat. Getting yelled at for reading an article on The Athletic.
From Rick. From Rick.
So so I have like anxiety about them going away, and like I'm not there. Like just like it's like I don't know. Your whole family is like across the world. It's just like weird. Like my brain's all fucked up right now.
Would you rather go to another wellness retreat or on a cruise with RA for 7 days?
I would start working at a wellness retreat before I went on a cruise. Cruises are trash. I've told that to everyone who could ever listen. You're stuck on a boat. RA's like doing those. What are those nudist boats? What are those called? No, what's the sex
You think I want to be a nudist?
Carnival Cruises.
I went
There
on
goes
one.
our sponsorship. We had one lined up. We were going to give them a Biz 20 too.
Hedonism cruise.
Hedonism cruise, yeah. It's a blackjack table and a blowjob at noon
Do you got a tip?
in the same two restaurants.
But wait, Western Mass is like low key wicked nice though.
No,
right?
this
Like,
town was this little town, Lenox, Massachusetts, beautiful little downtown, like awesome area. I'll never go back.
What
but it
was the name
nice.
of the massage you got with? Because you know how they have all these
deep? It
weird
was deep tissue.
deep tissue, and she didn't go deep, hey?
No, it was like a. I don't even know what to call it. Soft tissue, like disgrace.
That's a grind for them, though. They got to work their asses off.
You
to,
think
like,
Fudge
get it
Kid's
deep.
family goes to those wellness centers in Western Mass?
No, he probably owns it, and that's why they have a fucking compound on Nantucket.
I asked you, wait, you never heard of that place Eastover that was in Lenox, Mass years ago, right? There was a resort out there that
No.
a lot of Boston people used to go to. If you took Dirty Dancing and Animal House fucked and made a baby, it would be this place Eastover. You would just pay like $200 for rooms, and it was BYOB. You bring your own beers. They
my
fed you all
God.
week. It was just like
Sounds like
blackout.
camping.
Yeah, more or less. But you just went up there, get buckled all weekend. It was a great time. All kinds of Boston folks go up there. Then it just kind of petered out a little bit. But I'm sure a few of our listeners probably been there. Just an awesome, awesome time. But
All
was
right,
that-
all right. What did you do this weekend? And I would imagine like you've still been on the Florida Panthers train as far as the gambling.
Yeah, I got to go do a score after we do the show so I can take care of that shit. No, I've been doing it responsibly.
If there's a bank being robbed in 2 hours,
Yeah, no, we don't.
Yeah.
well, we don't do.
Penn's gonna love that.
We don't do them in Charlestown. We always go out of town. No, I took it easy this weekend. I had a funeral for a dear buddy of mine last week. My pal Jimmy Hingston. He passed away. He had cancer. Great
Sorry,
guy.
all right.
Thanks,
Sorry.
boys. No, he was
Condolences.
a beloved figure in the town. He had cancer a few months back, and it wasn't good when they diagnosed it. And you know, it sucks to have to go to a funeral and all that stuff, but it's beautiful that the tribute that so many people come. It was standing room only, and it sucks to say goodbye. But you know, Hinky, we love you, pal. It sucked.
probably turned into some great stories about him after with everyone, right? Like,
Yeah, it was, it's like an Irish celebration. It kind of turned into a party. So, needless to say, Biz, I was pretty tired for the rest of the weekend. But I hung out with my dad. I go over to my dad's. He's right across the street here. Watch the game Saturday night. So it's nice to hang out with the old man. I cherish all the time I have with him. So I had a relatively quiet weekend by my standards, I guess you'd say.
Yeah,
All
fuck
right, buddy.
cancer.
Well, sorry
all right.
about your loss, buddy. But
thank-
glad you got to spend some time with the old man.
Thanks, boys. Much appreciated. Let's see what our producer, Mikey Grinelli, is up to. We haven't
Oh
talked
yeah,
to him
what's
yet.
up, G?
We got a big week, Mikey.
Great week. Big week coming up, boys, but I'm not doing too good. I got to be honest, I'm not doing too good at all.
Uh-oh.
So last night, I fell asleep with my back door open.
Hey, now.
And I just so happened to live next to a bar, and basically their dumpster, like right where their dumpster is basically where my back door is. So I
That's
woke
good for
up at
resale.
I woke up at 3 a.m. battling about 200 mosquitoes. I am covered from my neck to my toes in about 1,000 fucking mosquito bites.
Oh no.
I'm in so much pain. I'm itching. I got sweatshirts and fucking. It's terrible, but I'm an idiot, and so yeah, I'm not doing great. But I'm excited to see you guys in Florida and Vegas.
are you
So
on
where-
you're on the ground floor?
No, I'm on the second floor. I thought I could beat it,
Beat what? Mosquitoes? They fly.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
have
exactly.
wings. They have wings.
but I
Yeah.
just thought I could beat the
They've
dumpster.
evolved.
So are you looking out your patio down into a dumpster?
Basically, yeah. Basically, yeah. It's
It's good to get out in case you want to get out quick. You can just jump in there like in the movies.
Like a beautiful blue view out of my apartment, like ocean view. No, it's a BFI dumpster. Guys, before we continue, I'm here to talk about the greatest drink ever created, the drink of the summer, the drink of the fall, the drink of the winter, the drink of the spring, Pink Whitney. We got the nips, we got the big bottles, we got every single size you could ever want, and it's all to catch a little buzz in the sun, in the rain, in the snow, in the wind, on the golf course, on the boat, in Vegas, in Lauderdale. It doesn't matter. This time of year is when Pink Whitney's popping. Get it. We've already said a bunch lately. It's all about that energy drink with the Pink Whitney. Get a little energy, get a little liveliness going while also getting your buzz and enjoying it with the pink drink. The Pink Whitney, New Amsterdam's own, the best drink on the market. I love having a couple of the nips right before a golf round. Gets away some of the nerves. Gets you to enjoy your friends a little bit more. Maybe people you don't like. If you have some Pink Whitney, you can stand them. That's kind of an option for everyone. I think before these Panthers games, it'll be ripping down at our pregame party down on the beach. I think that anyone who hasn't tried it yet has to get involved. If you have tried it and enjoy it, thank you so much. Continue to get involved with Pink Whitney. Enjoy yourself. Have a drink. Relax. Pink Whitney coming at you forever.
At least you're going to get away for a couple days, G. We got Fort Lauderdale on tap. We're going to have a little shindig before the game. TBA, we don't know the place yet, but follow our social media. And then we're off to Vegas for Game 5. This is another slobberknocker of a trip,
If there is a Game 5.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, no shit.
my prediction at this point is maybe Florida squeaks one out and they end it in 5 at home for Vegas. The way things have been going. What a shit kicking this has been.
Holy shit.
Florida has been completely outclassed.
Yeah,
Outclassed.
All I've thought about, how good are the Edmonton Oilers? I'm sorry, guys. They're the only team who've given them even remotely close to anything of a series. The Oilers are now going to have lost to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champs. So all I'm thinking is our times are coming because we gave the Knights all they could handle, and we were that close to forcing a Game 7. Mm-hmm. The Oilers are the true storyline of this Stanley Cup final.
That's a fair statement.
Thank you.
That's a fair statement.
Imagine what the Knights would be doing to the Leafs.
I don't want to even think about
it. Did we have a big deal brewing update? I saw on your social media. Was it new states or a new province? Or am I making
That's a great question. Gee, okay. I've been so dialed into the hockey. I've actually been off my social media quite a bit, other than to tell everybody that fucking Connor Bedard and Gary Bettman bent me over like Rick the masseuse.
There's nothing basically that new, but we are available now in British Columbia. So we posted the list of all the stores, all the liquor stores, all the restaurants, all the bars, anywhere you can buy it. But we are available in British Columbia, Alberta, and as Biz said, Ontario is coming soon.
Very, very soon. Coming soon.
You know what? Busy on top of that too. Just with you talking about Connor and Gary chirping you. It was pretty cool to see that Wayne gave you some love, and I say the same thing that Wayne says. Remember when he said, like, this guy works hard, you work hard, he's rubbing your back a little there?
He was playing tummy sticks with me on the
tummy
panel.
sticked you hard. And I was like, yeah, people need to know that. Thank you, Wayne. Busy in the studio. Like, this guy is ready, dialed in, ready to go. Like, he's a good teammate, but he works hard. He's cutting clips like a maniac. Like, you're not just showing up there and being like, hoo, hoo, hoo. Like you're at,
well, I do that too.
Yeah, well, that's part of the package, buddy. That comes with the other stuff too, which is dialed in hard work. So I'm glad Wayno jumped on board to give you a little tummy stick action on that, because that's true. People need to know that. It's not just you're coming in there fucking around.
Well, I appreciate the tire pump, Army, much like I appreciated it from Wayne. So I'm not really good at taking compliments, so I think we can move on.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I'll put
before the towels of that hotel would take a beating.
Yeah, before I put one in my belly button here. Right back at you, Army, because I know you're working hard too. You just drove all the way up to do what, a Jack's Lynx commercial?
Jack Lynx, yeah.
How'd that turn out?
It was good. I was at like a campground. They're giving away some kind of outdoor camping experience through them. So it's kind of this like campaign that's going to be coming up here soon. So stay tuned for that. It was fun to do. Did a little DIY project.
What does DIY mean?
Do it yourself kind of style of a shoot. It was really fun. It was kind of cool. Okay, mosquitoes started to heat up a bit. I haven't got bit by a mosquito.
Pumping out the content.
Yeah, I just what do you call that? I'm like
Jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades. Yeah, that's what it is.
There we go. Also, we want to say
none.
Yeah, that's true.
Thanks to everybody who tuned into our live stream Saturday night. So much fun doing those, right, guys? I call it like Beavis and Butthead in the games. We just kind of goof on the games, have some fun. Biz was on TNT. Missed it that night, but actually kind of a funny story because, my camera, you could kind of see people walking back and my wife walking down the hall, whatever. So my old man was watching it too. And he called me. He's like, hey, I was watching the thing. He goes, I saw Karen walk down the bathroom. Then I saw it looked like some figure, like he looked like he had a hood on, walk in. He goes, is everything all right over here? My cousin was here. My dad didn't know, so he seen my wife go in the bathroom. Then he saw this guy with like a hood on walking in after her.
Oh, no.
He's like, I didn't see Karen come out. He goes, is everything? I was like, oh, this is my cousin, correct, Dad. She come out of the bathroom and he went in. So he's watching and he fucking in the background. He thought I had some like creeper in the fucking
paranormal activity shit going on at our age during the stream. Oh, speaking of that, where we had our panel set up at the rink, Merle's ended up having his tickets right beside our panel.
No,
buddy, I could
for game 2 or both games.
For game 1, I don't know where he was at for game 2. So he's boots on the ground right now with his buddy Mincy. Is it
Miggs.
Mincy?
Miggsy.
Mincy. Jesus.
Oh,
I'm
man,
thinking of
that's
the
a tough one
Barstool
for
guy.
Miggs.
Oh, gee.
I mean, Merle's right now. I can't even imagine. What is it? It's 7:15 in the morning out there. He's probably just waking up, putting his glasses on. Can you believe I had 11? I doubled against that 6, and the guy pulled a 4-card 21, and I actually got the 9. I had 20. This is bullshit, Mix. I'm a mush.
That is unbelievable.
That's
Fucking
Brian
bullshit.
Boucher.
I can't win. It's a fucking joke.
Brian Boucher's got competition here.
Merle's.
I never win. I always go to the same
Biggest
spot.
loser. Biggest smush. Should have made the Hurricanes. Sent me down. Had 1-1 the first 2 games. Fucking Laviolette. Fuck him.
That's so good.
Unbelievable.
That is so good.
Coulda, shoulda,
Whitney.
woulda. He's the best.
Oh, unreal.
You should go to this wellness place more often. You're fucking humming right now.
Yeah. Oh, busy. I saw you yelling at a guy last night. You're just yelling at that
Just
guy
a
on the set in the
drunk
post game.
fan just yelling at us during our post game. So I say, "Hey, buddy, we're fucking working here."
Live TV.
Seriously, bro.
I was telling everybody I was Hank's agent. Yeah, we were having some fun in the post game. That's for sure. We were getting silly.
Let's talk some hockey, though, boys. After dropping game 1 5-2, Panthers were trying to reestablish their identity, I'd say, in the Monday night game. Didn't work. Vegas jumped on them early. Stupid penalty by Lomberg. It just kind of fell apart from there. I think Vegas outshot them at the first period. They just croaked them. Florida didn't have much fight in them, Biz. It was just ugly all around. What kind of positive, if anything, could Florida take from this game going to game 3?
So I think a lot of the discussion online seems to be like people upset at the amount of 10s that the refs are throwing at Florida right now and how ridiculous it's getting. I'm going to say this. I think the game plan for Florida coming to the series was the dumbest thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, did they think that they were just going to go in there and bully the Vegas Golden Knights? Everybody on the Golden Knights roster, aside from maybe March or so, is at least 6 foot, 6'1". They're fucking built. They're built huge. They have enough guys who can handle that type of shit. Their scores are even huge. And they went in there and then just try to scrum it up every time. Now, listen, it has been their MO all playoffs, but I feel like the refs coming in knew that they were going to do that, and they just don't want any of this nonsense. So by the end of the game, they're just so fed up, and they just keep chucking guys out where, yeah, maybe the last one on Tkachuk was a little bit soft, and people were a little bit pissed off with it. But at this point, they're just trying to diffuse it. The game's over. The game was done at that point.
Those
right?
don't
So
even matter.
It doesn't even matter. You look at the bench, there's 5 guys left for the Florida Panthers. But I think, RA, if there is any chance that they could come back in this series, going back home, they have to get away from this whole scrum nonsense. They need to worry about playing between the whistles. And in some cases, some of their players have to stop worrying about trying to hit guys every single time they have the puck, where, like, Montour, like, yeah, playing physical is great, but him running out of position to try to go run guys is like, it's not really his game. So, like, yeah, maybe the Lombergs and the Cousins and the Bennetts can worry about that, as they have been all of playoffs. But the guys who are paid to score goals and make plays need to start focusing on that and stop taking stupid penalties and running around trying to, I guess, punish a team who can play that style of game. And the minute, like you just said it, like Lomberg, like he has a puck. You got to take a hit to make a play. So he ends up cross-checking, I want to say it was March or so, puts him on the power play, boom, in the back of your net. The other one was Duclair who went in to make a hit on someone, and then Montour doubled it up, and he runs out of position and ends up hitting a guy high. So as far as the discipline concerned, just complete idiocy. And the fact that Panthers penalty kills is dog shit. Horrible. So you can't be putting this team on the fucking power play. And then all of a sudden, Bob looks normal. But I want to credit the Vegas Golden Knights. They sent out a tweet that Sean Burke, as most teams do, their coaching staff does presentations on the personnel and what they're dealing with moving forward in the next round. So that he said, like, hey man, like, Bob's been really seeing everything, and Florida's been doing a tremendous job of boxing out to where most point shots coming through or most danger shots coming through, he's seeing and getting clean looks. Well, in the first 2 games, boys, as far as the low to high movement for the Vegas Golden Knights and their big mobile defense walking the line and doing so with ease and finding those lanes, is giving enough time for the Vegas forwards to establish positioning. And you're seeing Bob, he's on his tippy toes trying to look around and look through the screens, where 3 goals from defensemen that have been big goals, especially early on in the hockey games, to give them leads, and they haven't looked back. So just a dumb mindset. I don't know what the preparation was like, and it's always tough to have those long layoffs, as we mentioned coming into this one. But when that happens, you have to up your game in practice. You have to keep that high pace level, especially when you're going to go against a team, against the Golden Knights, who are not only fast, mobile, but massive. So it's been ugly. And at this point, I wouldn't be shocked if it's a sweep.
All right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Muggsy Jeans. Muggsy makes the most comfortable jeans, chinos, and joggers ever. Made from buttery soft, patented stretch materials that look stylish, but are insanely comfortable, never too baggy, never too tight. The guys at Muggsy have one mission in life: give every guy the confidence to walk blindly into their closet, reach out, and know whatever they pick will have them looking good and feeling even better. You will literally never have to shop anywhere else again. Muggsy's also just dropped Cool Max denim that are like air conditioners for your legs. They spent years in the lab developing the most breathable jeans ever, designed with lightweight fibers to ensure a cool breeze with every single step. These jeans come in enough colors to make a pack of crayons jealous. They are the only jeans you'll wear this summer. Go from the backyard barbecue to the bar in one swift motion all summer long. If you're in Chicago or Austin, Texas, make sure to head downtown and check out their storefronts as well. Easy vibes every time. Enjoy your beer as you shop. If you're in Boston or DC, keep an eye out for a Muggsy store coming in June. Head to Muggsy.com and get 10% off now using the code Chiclets. That's 10% off some of the most premium jeans, chinos, swimwear, and shorts on the internet. Muggsy also offers free shipping and returns, so there's absolutely no risk to giving them a try. You just mentioned the break. Whit, do you think the break was too long for them? Are they out of gas, or is it just 2 bad games on the road for Florida?
Well, it's pretty easy to say now that the break was kind of disastrous. Yeah. And I think more than anyone, it was Bobrovsky, right? Like it's just one thing. Like, you're playing every other night. I think this is around the 51st, 52nd day since the playoffs began. Now, granted, he didn't start the first round, but all of a sudden he comes in game 4, whatever it was, against Boston. It's every other day they're going. And then just when you're at that level as a goalie and you're that dialed in and in this amazing sort of like mind space that he had, the break just kind of crushed him. And not only is it like all of a sudden you haven't played games and you hop into this, what Biz and Merles is telling us is this insane environment, but you're dealing with like a great team that Biz has already said how physical and how big they are. But also, half these screens are from Florida players too. It's like the defense. It's like you're there, but you're not there. Like if you're there, if you're in front of the goal, you gotta block it. So I thought game 1, the goal by White Cloud, that was like the first bad goal I'd say Bobrovsky's given up in quite some time, maybe since game 5 against the Bruins or game 4. And then just since then, it's just been since the third period, they're outscoring them 10-2. It's not even the first 2 periods of game 1 were great. It was back and forth. Florida tied it up late in the second. We saw, here we go. And then it's just been, it's been some of the most dominating efforts in the finals that I've ever seen. It reminds me of when we lost to Detroit. We somehow forced 6 games in 2008 as the Penguins. We didn't score a goal in games 1 or 2. And it could have, I think it was like 4-0, 3-0. I don't remember the exact scores, but it was like utter domination. Florida's got on the scoreboard, but not really. It's just like, I can't get over the fact at how effective Vegas' fourth line is. And Biz, I know you did the little sit down with Colasar and Waugh and Carrier wasn't there, but like, it's just insane to see these guys. They're all fast. They're all big. They all play physical. And when you talk about them trying to get in the mix, the Murr.
What's up, boys?
It's alive. What's up, Murr? Let me finish this point quick, Murr. Let me finish this point. I'm just talking about, you told us before, and we chirped you nonstop, Biz, about how many times you mentioned Vegas doesn't take penalties going into the Edmonton series. They actually are the most disciplined hockey team I've ever seen. and they had Petro mic'd up on the bench last night, and he's like, stay away from it, boys. Just skate away. And that's actually what they're doing. Like Stone, no matter what you do to Stone, he just turns around and skates away. Hag, guys are kind of going at Hag. He's just laughing in their face. Like
he's getting choked out. He's getting choked out and he's laughing.
And he's laughing, and there's zero retaliation. So like all of a sudden Florida's like, oh, we'll muck and grind it up. It's like, these guys don't care, dude. They just play hard between the whistle, and then they put their head down and skate to the bench. So I just, I'm amazed at how good Vegas is. I guess we should have known it. They won the West. They've just trampled through everyone besides Edmonton a little bit. And now it's like, holy shit. And to see what Barbashev's doing, I tweeted out somebody needs to give him 8 years times $8 million. This guy is like,
he's a cigarette machine.
So who did he cold shoulder early in the game yesterday? Maher, I think, right? He murdered him with a reverse hit. He then pretty much took the soul out of Gudas's body. He Gudased. And on the live stream, Biz, when you were working, I mentioned we needed a Game of Thrones tribal combat battle to the death of Gudas and Barbashev. Well, that didn't go as I thought it would. Barbashev sent him back to Czech. It's just like
the fact that on a reverse hit he sent Gudas down the tunnel. I was perplexed.
People are like, oh, that's a hit to the head. I'm like, dude, he went to hit him.
He went to hit him.
It's not a hit to the head if you're going to hit a guy and he puts the shoulder directly into your face. That's like trying to crush him. Like, it's just a team that is so well rounded and will not take any dumb penalties. So with Aiden Hill playing, like the only chance Florida had is if Bob outplayed Aiden Hill to an enormous aspect. And it's been the complete opposite. It's just, it looks like men against boys. And I know things will change and hopefully change, at least for the fans' sake. But right now, I mean, you're watching one of the most dominating teams I've ever seen in the Cup Final.
Well, I think this was taken right before the end of the game, where they might have scored one more 5-on-5 goal. But currently they had, or at the time at least when I saw the stat, 54 5-on-5 goals in playoffs. The next closest team was 37 with Dallas. So 5-on-5, they're just insane. And Merle, you were in the building when Aiden Hill made that paddle save, which when you go back to the Holtby one where they got fucked over back in 2018 when Washington won in 5 games. It kind of it was very similar, right? On just like how crazy it was, the athleticism, and man, that was a tap in for Cousins. That might have been a different outcome to that game. I feel like the crowd didn't even react in real time. Like they were so in shock. The only thing they didn't scream and lose their mind at the entire 2 games.
Yeah, like I didn't even know what was going on. Like your eyes, you didn't believe.
Vegas voice.
Did you lose your voice at the tables too, Merle?
His defense is he's been at 2 games where you can't hear yourself think. So if this was just from casinos, then we'd have a different
early,
ball.
right, Merles? It's early. Hey,
7 a.m. No casino last night. It's from the game. You're just talking to the guy next to you. I was talking to Jeff Jacobson all game 1, and I came out with no voice. It's so loud. This game, I got talking to Philip Fiala's agent that we saw down in Florida.
Oh, Jesus.
He dragged me up to the Hyde Lounge up there after this, like during the intermissions. But when that save happened, that game 1, we couldn't believe what happened. And they're not great with showing the replays here either. So when you're at these live games, it's kind of tough to see what's going on. And nobody really understood how that didn't go in. So that was wild.
People, Biz and Army, Merles, whoever, like, people were kind of giving Cousins a little grief. Like, you got to bear down and bear it. I know Army mentioned, like, that's why your dad always told you, like, don't ever take a chance for granted. But, dude, it's pretty hard not to just literally see a wide open net and all you're doing is redirecting it in. Like, I have a hard time blaming Cousins there because it was just one of the greatest saves I've ever seen. And if Hill's not 6'6", there's no chance he's making that save. But it's like, oh my God, the Cousins ends up looking kind of bad, but there's just no chance in your mind that that's not going in. It's like, oh my God, it's right there. Boom, you could literally walk the puck in.
I think it's like what Hank says on the broadcast, so busy. It's like, it's his style. He's just a big blob of a guy. He's never like out of it because of that. Like he's not over athletic trying to make the save. He's just, it gets in the way. So he's able to be with his size still in a position where he's vulnerable like that on a bang bang passing play, which was awesome, to still kind of be there within reach. He's just right there. So I give him a lot of credit. He just does what he has to do. He just gets in the way. But I was going to say about the style of play too. Like, what do I put on the group chat all the time, boys? Vegas is just too much. Like they're too much all over the ice. But watching them play, like they're like a rugby team. You know how rugby guys come up the ice and they just keep lofting it out to the side to the guy, and it's just that's how they come up out of their zone into the offense and through the neutral zone. They're just those little bunt passes. No one's dangling end to end. Eichel comes up and weaves in like a garter snake. Just he doesn't even stride to enter the zone. Draws people to him. Then bunts it out to the side. Like everything's just like tick, 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 tick. They just go.
No turnovers in the high danger areas.
They
never turn it over at either blue line. And when a team's that big and deep and like coming at you in waves with 4 lines, and then you're not even getting turnovers, it's like, what are we going to do to create any offense?
They had the fourth line matched with the Tkachuk line for the first half of the game, and they neutralized them, and they ended up scoring a goal in the second period. This is one of the best fourth lines I've ever seen. As far as Hill's concerned, Colby, as you were talking about him, one of his things was when he was early and young, he would swim too much, and then Berkey was working with him, and he's like, buddy, like, look at your body. He goes, you can just stand there, play a little bit deeper in your net, and like just let the puck come to you. But he does have that athleticism. So when he does get out of position, he's able to recover and make these crazy saves where they even played a clip. Normally it's the backup goalie playing rebound at the end of warm-up where you do the last puck.
Oh, I saw that. He's flopping all over the place.
So he has that. It's like Marc-Andre Fleury style athleticism along with this fucking Goro-sized body with this wingspan that like I said, he looks like fucking Goro out there. You know the guy from Mortal Kombat? 4 fucking arms, for Christ's sake. That's how he saved that paddle. But Jack Eichel, boys, it looks like at this point, if he keeps going, he might win the Conn Smythe. Like, holy shit, what a turnaround for this guy. Like,
was it 10 goals in his last 9 games? Is that the stat?
So he's currently I want to say 6 points behind the record for best playoff performance coming into your first ever playoffs. So the
got
current,
those stats right
that
here.
was Marchessault, 10 goals in his last 9 games.
He's also the second player ever in the first Stanley Cup appearance, or maybe probably first Stanley Cup final appearance to have 2 points in games 1 and 2. So like the moment is not, and by the way, like very scary moment, I think, when he took that hit, which was an unreal hit by Matthew Tkachuk.
Oh
Every single aspect of it was clean. It was the perfect hockey hit. I loved hearing Eichel say that after.
Yeah.
The only reason it got so ugly is because he toe picked right as he lifted up his head and saw him. But with the neck injuries and like how he was like holding his shoulder, I was like, oh, fuck. And that could have been the one thing for Florida. Like, oh my God, we knocked out their best player. Nope. He comes back in the third and gets an assist about 3 minutes in.
Oh, he went beast mode.
He did. But by the way, that's another goal. Marchessault's second. It's like, how many times have there been Vegas guys with chances with nobody around them?
brain
Like,
farts.
breakaways. You're like,
Brain
what's
farts.
going on here?
Yeah, I got that stat for you. Eichel's 22 points. He trails Mark Recchi, who had 34, and Eric Stahl, who had 28 points in their first playoff.
Shit, I didn't know Recchi had 34.
Wrecking ball.
Oh,
Wrecking ball. When was that?
What was that with
92?
Montreal? Murr?
1991 with Pittsburgh.
Oh, wow. I don't know if you saw the stat in the paper. Since 2017-18, Marchessault has more playoff points than the following: Draisaitl, Stamkos, Aho, Bergeron, Ovechkin, Mana, Matthews, Gensel, and Crosby. More
Points or goals?
Points. More playoff points than all those guys
Holy
since
shit.
they came into the league. That's fucking insane.
How many goals does he have right now in these playoffs? 12?
12. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
What an
And he didn't score in the first round.
I want to say we mentioned management for the Golden Knights coming into this series and what type of a juggernaut they've created. They have one player on their roster that's been drafted by their team. One player.
What?
One player on their team. Who is it, RA? Is it Hag?
Yeah, Hag was drafted, but I thought White Cloud was. No, White Cloud was signed. So they have one draft pick. Holy shit.
So just look at all these moves they've made in order to create this lineup, and like think of how much trash they were getting thrown at them as far as when they were making some of these moves where fans weren't happy about the amount of turnover, but that again, the misfits and the original guys that they've kept and the impact that they've made. I mean, you look at Marchessault, you could say that Carlson's maybe been a little bit quiet this round, but he's kind of that shutdown center right now. So they really have everything down the middle working for them as far as Chandler, Stevenson, him, and this Nicholas Roy. I don't know how they're going to afford to keep some of these guys because this kid's a fucking stud too. He had a big goal last game. It's just it's been a shit show, boys, and it's been a thumping like no other.
Hey, like to your point though, Vegas, like how aggressive they are. They've had 3 coaches in 6 years. They've been to the final twice. Like go through their stats. They brought in McCrimmon, like they switched GMs and moved McPhee up. Like they've made like pretty big name trades too out of nowhere. They've had injuries to guys that have come, like we know the salary cap thing and Stone's back and all this stuff, but like there's been a lot of action. Like this owner, he just rips, hey? He just is like, let's go. New coach. I don't care. Get another guy.
Not to mention, like, Logan Thompson was in the All-Star game, and then Laurent Brossoit had a great year when he was healthy, and then they had Quick. And then, like, Aiden Hill, he's not even the starter, and he could win the Conn Smythe. Somehow, it's like the amount of depth they have up and down the lineup. Like, forget just goaltending. It's incredible. Hey. And there is a complaint about how much over the cap they are. Like, whatever, that's the rules. That's how the game's played now. But you just got to look at this team, and I don't see how in the fuck Florida could win 4 out of 5 games. There's just it seems impossible.
So what do they have to do, right? Like, where are their guys? Where is this thing? Gudis got trucked by Barbashev.
Barbashev ended his life.
So here's my thoughts is they need to stop worrying about throwing hits and keep their momentum because they're so much slower right now than Vegas. So they need to keep their momentum and try to play a skill game and try to figure out a different way than they have been winning the entire playoff long. That, at least from a forward perspective. From the back end, Montour definitely needs to play like that, where he needs to just start snapping it around and stop worrying about hitting in general, especially now with Gudis out. They're going to miss that, but you have to change it up, and then they got to pray that they get the goaltending that they've gotten from Bob all playoff long.
I thought he was going to cry on the bench last night. Did you see that shot of him? It looked like he was so defeated, and that's the thing that Vegas is doing. They've taken their will away, and look at the guys that we've talked about. Bennett, this guy, is he playing? I don't know. Is he like, he's not a non-factor? He's not hit. He can't hit anyone. He's not involved. I don't notice him. Where's Cousins? Besides he getting robbed on that one chance. Like, I don't notice him anymore. Does he create anything now? Like, where have all these guys gone? They're too big. All those guys are small guys too. They play. I like their game, but it's like, they've neutralized it with the way that Vegas is built, the depth that they have and the size, and it's a mismatch. They're too much.
I don't know what the injury is. Maybe Biz, you heard more, but like not having Luostarinen.
Yeah, that was a huge loss.
He's a sneaky, like
he's
quiet,
big,
just sound player, and he's bigger. And all of a sudden, like he's not in the lineup. And Gudis was injured coming into the game, and it's just like everything's setting up.
Where's
for
Verhaeghe?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Verhaeghe had that breakaway. And he didn't even get a move off.
Horrible move.
I know.
Usually
I made him my X factor. I made him as my X factor.
Are over, you hear about the injuries. Like, I don't know how much that Barkov injury from the last round is playing a factor because he doesn't look very fast right now either. And if he ain't himself, it's hard for those other guys on the line because he's usually so good at distributing the puck and getting it to them in those danger areas where I agree they've been completely neutralized, and all the big guys, like nothing from Reinhart, nothing from Bennett, nothing from Verhaeghe, nothing from Duclair. I mean, Kachuk looks a half a step slower and way less clutch at winning battles and even getting to the blue paint. And it's just, like I said, if they continue these scrum antics, it's going to the point where it's just kind of embarrassing. They're embarrassing themselves.
Because it looks like they're not even really scrumming it until like the game's out of hand too. So then it's just like, what are you doing? Like at least do something from the beginning. It's almost like at the end of the games when the game's over, it becomes this gong show. It's just I can't believe how good Vegas is. I guess I should have realized this, but they're impossible to get through. They're never giving up odd man rushes. They're never out of position in defensive zone. It's like a perfect team right now.
All right, before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Shady Rays. Take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. Durable frames and extremely clear optics for all your outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair of glasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. It doesn't stop at the quality. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Each pair of their sunglasses are backed by their lost and broken program. If you lose or break your pair, even on day 1 or year 2, they will send you a brand new pair. Look at these bad boys. I'm probably on like my 10th pair. You look good, you feel good, and you're Shady Rays. And together with their customers, Shady Rays is providing much-needed support to nonprofit partners across the U.S. through Shady Rays Impact. From building play sets for pediatric cancer patients to providing young adults with MS the outdoor adventure of a lifetime, Shady Rays is making an impact in your community and others like it now and for years to come. If you don't love them, exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop at Shady Rays. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use the code Chiclets for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. The best deal on the internet. Basically, buy one, get one free for these bad boys. Once again, shadyrays.com, code Chiclets. Buy one, get one free. Enjoy. The best shades out there. I want to ask you, if Gudas is going to be out for the rest of the series, how much does that hurt Florida's chances? I mean, he doesn't score a lot of points, but these guys don't have to look over their shoulder every time when he's not on the ice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like situationally, I think he's big. He blocks shots. He's physical. He complements a D pairing pretty well through their lineup. I think that's huge. We've done nothing but talk about how big of a difference maker he's been, and it's not because of the points or goals at all. It's just his presence on the ice of what he means to this team. So, I mean, we all know he's reckless, and there's value to that in your lineup. But I mean, to miss him for them is massive, especially considering all the things we talk about and size disparity with teams and having the ability to play down low or on entries. Vegas is just carving into their zone easily, and you have a wild card like Gudas who might just come out of nowhere like a psycho. So it's big. It's a massive loss to have that guy out of the lineup just because of the I guess you could say X factor of his play that it is, and complementing his partner as well. Like he's been super important to this team through the playoffs. Like really important.
How many times have you guys seen the flip play from Florida in the series?
They can't. They have no time to even flip it out, let alone make a tape-to-tape pass.
Zero time.
Yeah.
And back to Barbashev, so Vegas traded Zach Dean, who was a late first-round pick, I think 2 years ago, maybe a year ago. I mean, this kid could end up being an incredible player for the Blues, and I'm sure Doug Armstrong's hoping he pans out and he's got the pedigree, but did you have any idea that this guy was like this? I knew he was physical. I didn't understand how good of a passer he was. He is a wrecking ball.
God.
Did you know this, Biz? Did you?
I didn't know he could make plays the way he's making plays. We all knew that he could cave guys in. I mean, going back to last year's playoff against the Colorado Avalanche, he's the one who took out Sam Girard. He what's this thing in the middle?
Sternum. He broke his sternum.
So he that's why I say he's built like a cigarette machine. If he's got his low center of gravity and his knees bent and he catches you, it's worse than getting hit by Sam Bennett in the trolley tracks. He'll snatch your soul just like him. But what he's been able to do in order to create and just keep plays alive and work in on those top lines, it's such a huge ad. And that's why I keep complimenting this brass for the Golden Knights and all the moves they've made. And no, I had no idea he had this level of game. And I would say in the last 2 months, he's probably added another $20 million to his pocket.
Wow.
You got to think he's getting 5-6 years at he's getting 5-6 years at $5 million a year, right?
I would say yes. The problem with Vegas is, like you said, they're so far over the cap, they probably won't be able to afford to keep him. But if you're another team, I say he's easily getting 5-6 years at $5 million.
For me, what I'm seeing from him is a guy that can play with good players. We're seeing that, right? We're seeing a guy that can find those layers in playmaking ability, a guy that's not afraid to get pucks in hard areas. He's actually really good at it. And then an X factor. he'll snatch your soul. And it's like, how is that not a compliment to any team's top two lines as a winger to be able to have that in your lineup? Because being good is one thing, but being a beast like that is another whole thing altogether. Talk about guys that are just impossible to find. So
and even the guy, even the Biz Amadio, like who, whatever.
I play with him.
So
from the Sioux,
see that little touch pass he gives Howden on
He's
the
got
seventh?
nasty mitts.
It's insane. I'm like, that guy's making plays like that. Like, it's just the whole team is nobody is out there just like kind of trying to survive. Like, oh, if I get the puck, I'm going off the glass. Like, they all make plays. Guys who I didn't even know could make plays are just making these beautiful little touch passes. I can't say enough about this team.
I think it just reiterates the fact that if you're a small, soft team with no heart, you don't have a chicken dick's chance of lifting Lord Stanley. You need to have fucking brass balls going into every game and fucking work and just thumping away. And as a Leafs fan, it makes me very envious of what they've built. And now I know what direction we need to go in. And that's without Kyle Dubas.
That's what I was going to say. Like, this finals has got to change the way these teams are building. Like, the last few years, everybody's gone with these little skills, fast teams. You're seeing these like men teams, these big boys. Like, if I'm a GM, that's all I'm trying to do. I'm trying to like mimic both these teams.
I'm going to Daryl Sutter's farm to draft players. That's where I'm going.
Busy,
At
you
least
said it on
D, right, Mur? At least on D, if
Yeah.
anything.
Hey, you said it on the group chat though. Remember, Busy? It was last night. You're like, remember everybody was talking about the East, and it's so funny because we get on here and Whit brings up Edmonton, a great point, and then we see this Vegas team. We saw how they had to get through the Stars even too. Do you think the Stars would be doing this to? I think the Stars would be up 2-0 on Florida. I'm like.
Well, that's the thing we've been talking about, me and Miggs, before we go to the games. We're like, dude, they got Hellebuck. They got to him. Then they made Ottinger look like a peewee goalie at times. He got him, and now they're getting Bobrovsky.
And they handled Leon and fucking
Leon and McDavid. They took care of.
Every goalie they've faced is at like 880 save percentage. Like, they're smashing anyone. It doesn't matter. So. Yeah,
that must be so fun, hey? That must be so fun.
I think
this must be the most fun team to ever be a part of. It's like, oh, you're gonna try to bully us?
I was
shove your ass.
I was at their practice facility. By the way, stunning practice facility.
Really?
That Foley.
Did you see Merle's there? Do you see Merle's in there sniffing around trying to get scoops?
I've been over there a couple of times. I've been over.
Biz, great locker room setup and stuff.
Oh, it's just it's first class. They were saying how. The owner, he owns a bunch of land in Montana, and before the season starts, he flies out the whole team and trainers. He's got his own private golf course on, I think he owns like 40,000 acres. He just they go skeet shooting, they go wild fishing, they go hunting, they do whatever the fuck they want on his, so he just treats them like gold. And they built this $30 million practice facility. They have a car washer out in the back who washes and details all the guys' cars while they're at practice. Like, they treat these guys like gold. And I actually ran into Eichel because I was interviewing all the guys in the locker room. And he just said, he's like, buddy, it's a joke. He goes like, everyone loves it here. Everyone lives within 5-10 minutes of the rink. The schools are unbelievable. It's sunny all the time. It's just.
Biz, speaking of having fun, Aiden Hill in his post-game press conference last night said, it's probably the most fun I've ever had playing hockey. I'm just living in the moment. So just to double down on what you guys said. They're just loving
they're
it.
trucking everyone.
It's just, they got the most. And then another nugget, I think that they tied the Islanders for the most goals through the first 2 games of a Stanley Cup Final with 12. All right.
9 goal scorers, Biz, the most ever over the first 2 games of a Stanley Cup. I know they have that one as well.
There you go.
And game 1 was their 9th comeback win of these playoffs, which is second all time. If they get another one, they'll tie the record, which is held by the Avalanche last year and the 2009 Penguins as well. So setting records left and
all right,
right.
I'll ask you this one. You asked, what do they have to do to get in the series? When Boston was down 0-2 to Vancouver, was Vancouver that much drastically better in the first 2 games? Like, did they get slaughtered or did it not?
No, it was overtime. One of them, I remember.
Yeah, they were very close games, and then of course they went back to Boston, and fucking Vancouver shriveled once they got in the TD Garden. But they were very close games, those first 2.
I was actually thinking about that, Biz, and because I thought about that last night. Like, what are the chances? Boston started just bullying them. Remember Marchand just punching Sedin in the face and not doing anything? So like right away, it's like, all right, they went to overtime in one of the games in Van. Then they beat the shit out of them in Boston. Like, that's not happening.
And
They need the first goal. They need to get out to a lead. If they go down again, they're fucked.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of is the Rangers Devils, that first round series. When I went to both those Rangers games, the Devils looked terrible. The Rangers ran them out of the building both times on the road. And it reminds me of that. So as much as I think like, oh, this thing's over, I got to remember that. And Florida's going back home. So they'll get a little boost there.
Can you imagine going to Foley's house and like going partying with him, and you just show up there and he's like, all right, boys, here's my 40-acre ranch. You can do whatever you want. We got skate shooting.
40,000-acre ranch.
40,000-acre ranch. You can go fishing. You could I'll have servants come and bring us our food later for everyone. You guys want to go hunting and we can, shoot some wild game. Even fuck it. We'll kill some humans.
We'll go ride the horses naked.
Just
we'll
set some
wax
humans.
our assholes and go ride the horses.
We got a wellness retreat for Whit down the road. Pick him up tomorrow. I mean, what's Foley's money from already? Do you know how he made all his dough?
I don't
tech?
know.
Is it tech? What does he do? Is it?
I don't know, but
he
he's
just
an animal.
He just bought a soccer team a couple years ago at $300 million. It's worth $600 million now.
Doesn't he have a winery too? Like he owns like a vineyard somewhere.
Get rich. Yeah. That's all they do.
There's a wine booth in the arena of all his wines.
Foley
and stuff.
wines, right?
Really?
Because I remember watching the regional broadcasts, and he'd have like commercials of guys like over at like cheersing with wine, like players off the team were doing the commercials for him and stuff. If you watch like those local ones.
Hi, I'm Marc-Andre Fleury, and I've just been traded, but please try this wine.
Yeah, Fidelity Financial, it says, for Bill Foley. He went to West Point. That's why they're called the Golden Knights or whatever.
Both team owners are. Vinny Viola went to West Point as well.
Oh.
Both teams, yeah. And actually, there was a lawsuit with that, Merles, because they wanted to name them Gold Knights and Army as the Black Knights. There was I don't know if they went full through court, but yeah, they ended up kind of hammering it out. Merles, I want to ask you the Cats power play, 0 for 7. They've been pretty bad all year. What do you see that they're not doing right, or is it just they don't have the personnel to have that good of a power play? What's your take on that?
Yeah, it's more just Vegas being so big and strong, and they just don't give them anything. When I'm sitting there, I feel no threat at all that Florida's going to score. It's like I got my next bet going, and I'm just like, this is a good thing. Like they're not even going to score. It's been a master class, and I don't see anything like they're doing terribly wrong. It's just Vegas is better.
Well, in the first period, Biz, remember the little the one power play Florida had in the first? I think they had
went
5
up 2-0.
shots.
They could have game 2 or game 1?
Game 2.
Oh, okay.
They had 5 shots last night.
And it was a flurry on Hill.
It was a flurry, and all of a sudden Hill made a bunch of big saves. It was like, oh, that was a chance for them to kind of get things going. And they actually did have a great power play, but it's almost. And then what happened? They went right down and scored. Vegas went right down and scored. So it was like, oh, well, that's the exact thing Florida couldn't have happened.
Yeah, even in game 1, they were up 1-0 Florida, and Kachuk hit the post on the power play. That would have made it 2, and then same thing, right back the other way. And
so for you guys in the barn,
my wrists are sore from stroking these guys off. Are we done blowing?
I just wanted to ask Whit about the power play, like because you're a power play guy. Do you get stuck, like sticking to the plan, like, oh, we have to pass it to this flank, then cut it through the seam, and then look for a shot pass, and then like that's all you get in your head? Is because to me, I'm watching them and it looks too robotic. Yeah. Like they need to be like 2 passes shot and then retrieval. Set it up again.
The problem is when you try to do that, and then like I would say that one of Florida's biggest weaknesses right now is they're getting everything blocked. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you say great job by Vegas blocking the shots, or you kind of chirp Florida in terms of like, you got to get it by the first guy. Like get it by the first guy's shin pads, and then it's at least in the slot or the crease, and something can happen. What?
Management had it solved. They picked up Martinez. They had McNabb, 2 best shot blockers in the NHL during the regular season, number 1 and 2. Any way you look, they have it figured out.
I know.
The Misfits ran out the mojo. I've been saying it from the beginning, right, RA? The Misfits would run out the mojo.
I want to go to Stone's goal at the first game, the insurance goal. Did you think that was coming down, Biz? Because the stick looked a little high. Looked like it might have been a little high. Did you think it should have counted?
I thought it was too even, and he was bending his knees, and he was also tilted one way because he was turning on his edge. So I felt it was the right call. I mean, I don't know how that was the fourth goal to make it 4-2, right?
Yeah,
so
backbreaker. Yeah,
it didn't end up making a difference, but no, definitely not the reason why Florida lost. And I thought it was the right call. And once again, an unreal Stone celebration. And then we had one in game 2 too. How about the play where he broke his stick, lit up Montour, goes and gets it from the trainer, and makes a sick pass over for the goal. And then he's just losing his mind. We got to talk about it post game. I forget what his crack was. He came in swinging with a joke.
He's a horse. Krusty the Clown. Just dominating. And I'm actually very happy they kept that goal, because it's obviously crossbar is the height for a goal to get called back, but for a high stick, it's your shoulder. And the behind camera view, it was too close. Maybe if they called it a high stick, well, I guess if you call it a high stick on the ice, you wouldn't have had a chance to shoot it in. But for me, I think that stays up. And it was such a beautiful play to knock that down on a midair, which he's the master of the hand-eye. And on NHL Network, Rupper, Mike Johnson, and Brian Boyle were on the ice at the arena. They had one of his sticks. They were talking about the knob. It's like a tennis racket, they said. And then they were saying how big his stick, like when he's in skates, it's still up to his nose. It's huge. And he's knocking down pucks everywhere. And then he just no stick handle, just flicks it top shelf. I was happy that goal stayed. It was too much of a beauty to pull back.
Maniac. The Maniac's on fire. You guys chirped him about his cellies. How hard he cellies too. Oh my God. Nuts. This guy goes crazy.
First goal ever.
Those equipment guys are amazing, though. They don't even look. They just go like this with their hand, and they know where the guy is. They pull it out and get it out there. With his knob,
it's like Barry, that guy from COVID. It's like, oh, there it is.
Oh God, here we go. We can't avoid him.
Oh, that's funny.
Before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Dollar Shave Club. Dollar Shave Club is an innovative company, disrupted the shave industry over a decade ago, and now disrupting the electric grooming category. Dollar Shave Club makes and delivers high-quality shaving and grooming products for both men and women to help you look, feel, and smell your best. Trimming your facial hair and balls on the same trimmer is gross. One head for your body, one for your face, with guards for each head. It's waterproof and includes a travel bag. Shave in the shower or on the go when you travel and whatnot. And it's got an LED light and a diamond grip on the base. Always see where you're going, never slip up. And it's a great battery as well. You get 90 minutes of shaving time. So go to dollarshaveclub.com and use the promo code Chiclets to get $15 off the new double-header electric trimmer. Limited time only. Offer expires June 30th, 2023. All right, we're going to throw to our interview in 1 minute. We have Shane Hnidy. He does TV work for the Vegas Golden Knights, where I was here in Boston for a stretch too. But I want to ask you, Merles, what does Florida have to do to get back in the series? Other than obviously win a game, but what do they need to do? What do they need to change?
Trade for Luch?
Yeah, I mean, like Whit said earlier, you got to score that first goal somehow, get that barn rocking, and then we're gonna need Bobrovsky to just have one of those games, because Vegas is gonna get those chances. So
the only way is if they fucking board Con Air on the way over to Florida. That's it. That's the only fucking way they're not fucking winning any more games.
Guys, we have a little bit of breaking news here before we go to Shane Hnidy. I just want to get your instant reaction. We can talk about it after the interview, but I don't know if you guys have checked your phone. The internet's kind of freaking out. So the PGA Tour has just announced that they will be merging with Live Golf.
What?
I saw that too just now. What? I didn't know what it was.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Yep,
Wow.
The PGA Tour has announced a merger with Saudi-backed
Oh my God, the
Live
PGA
Golf.
Tour and Dubas should merge together too. Talk about these two.
What?
They merged with Liv?
Go look at
Dude,
Dave
can you
Portnoy's
imagine
Twitter
being a
feed. He's
tour
burying
player?
them.
Can you imagine being a tour player who turned down $130 million?
Wait, they did not tell the tour players before the annouement. So
my God, dude! Imagine turning down $100 million and now they're just the same league.
Hey, time out. Imagine who's the one who's Tiger's buddy there, who was number one for a while, McIlroy.
Yeah, he's been like,
he's been fighting.
He's been drinking their juice and defending the tour, and obviously not going to secure his bag, which I'm sure he's made enough money probably. Hey, Tiger could have made $1 billion from Live. How do you think he fucking feels?
Hey, Colin Morikawa has just tweeted, I love finding out morning news on Twitter. And everyone thought yesterday was the longest day in golf.
God, dude, I'm telling you, they've been so
pathetic.
against LIV.
That's pathetic.
Oh my God, imagine what that Brandel Chambly is probably crying in his bowl of morning
What did he
soup
get
right
offered?
now. No, Brandel Chambly's this TV analyst who's been going nuts about LIV since the day. Wow,
Wait,
this
Brooks,
is
Brooks
nuts.
Koepka just tweeted, welfare check on Chambly.
Oh my God.
Holy shit, man. That's a big time Hey, the money, the blood money. We
blood
would
money.
never oh my
The
God.
blood money. It's pathetic. It's
Wow,
actually
what
pathetic.
an absolute full of shit.
Do you think all the
organization
media
PGA
people
Tour is.
do you think all the media people that were on the PGA side with all that stuff are going to continue to work with golf? Or do you think those
100% because
Oh,
they're
do you
all
think
fucking
those heroes?
frauds.
Do you think
All
those fucking
blue check
heroes
marks are frauds.
Do you think those heroes are going to come in and go, I can't?
Yeah,
do
no, I
this.
quit. I quit.
I can't morally work for the company.
That is fucking crazy. And the
It is
players
crazy
didn't
news.
know. Oh,
Yep.
I gotta get after we finish.
Get on
I
Twitter,
cannot
Whit.
wait to read
Wait,
this.
the only reason why I saw it because I saw Mackenzie Hughes, Canadian. Nothing like finding out through Twitter that we're merging with a tour that we said we'd never do that with.
Phil Mickelson has chimed in and he just said, awesome day today with a smiley face emoji.
Yeah.
Phil
Hey,
won.
Phil
won.
From Secession. He won.
No spoiler, right?
So what's it going to do? They're all going to go back to playing like PGA, like the 4 days.
But here's what I don't understand is the numbers for LIV were pathetic from a broadcasting standpoint. Why wouldn't they just let it die?
I don't
Is it
know.
because a
There's
lot
gotta
of the
be
good
more to
golfers
story,
are
but
going there?
Oh my God! All the meetings
the
the
money.
tour had with the players, and it's our tour
The
and the blood
competition.
money.
The competition meetings about how they make it better and revolutionize it. That's why I said like they had McIlroy drinking their Kool-Aid and just bashing all these fucking guys for going to do it. They make him look like a fucking moron. He looks like a fucking moron right now.
And you know what? How much time and energy he spent like defending the tour? He's probably bullshit
that's
right
true.
now. But
800
can you
mil.
just
800
imagine
mil
being
is
a
what they
guy that
offered
got
Tiger.
offered $100 million?
800 million Tiger turned down.
800.
I know, but at least he's like a billionaire. Like I know what you're saying. Like,
But from my understanding, the reason that he turned it down is because the amount of dirt that the PGA Tour has on Tiger.
no, it was our legacy. I'm all about my legacy, everyone. Oh, really? Because now you're getting run by the Saudis, just exactly like you said would never happen.
Still not as slimy as Kyle Dubas, but pretty slimy.
Not as come on. I gotta stick up for my guy Dubas
you're
now.
a fucking defender.
I'm a Dubas guy now.
You don't think he had that fucking deal lined up? You don't think he already had that fucking deal
He
lined
might
up?
have.
That
He might have.
tampering bullshit. I'm off the Penguins train.
There's
How
no
about
way.
that? I'm off the
You're quitting the team that
I'm off the
drafted
fucking
you?
Penguins train. I'm off them.
Holy shit.
And you know what? You know what? And you know,
Tour.
you know what? And you know what else? I think that it was a fucking conflict of interest at the fact that Dubas was with that agency and the fact that they gave Matthews the bag. Same
Fuck
fucking
that.
agency. It's
Come
all
on.
corrupt.
Come
It's
on,
all
Biz.
corrupt.
Look what the PGA did to Biz. It broke Biz too. He just lost his mind.
I am no longer a Doobie defender. I'm off the Doobie train. He unfollowed me on Twitter. I unfollowed him back. I'm out for blood.
Hey,
He
all
unfollowed
right,
you?
explain the Dubas exact signing, and then I have an opinion as well.
Actually,
Wait till he
we're
signs Barbashev.
we got to go to our interview first, Whit, and then we're going to come back and do all the Fred Hoffman
Sheriff
stuff.
Shane Hnidy, an amazing interview. He played it for a lot of teams. He won the Stanley Cup in his last pro season. He's now the color commentator for the Vegas Golden Knights. And I'll say before we go to him, thank God we didn't interview a Florida person after the way these first two games have gone. So Sheriff Shane Hnidy, right now, check him out.
Leafs forever, Doobie. Leafs forever.
This interview is presented by CHEVY. You guys all know we've made it clear we're a big part of the Chevy EV family. And we have even bigger news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is officially Barstool and Spittin Chiclets' most valuable truck. We got the chance to see this thing and experience it. It is a complete game changer. 400-mile GM estimated range on a full charge. Over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate. A large, enormous 17-inch diagonal display screen. It can tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing. and 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with the wow mode. Also, don't forget, an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. Head on over to Chevy.com to learn more right now. Chevy.com, the new EV Silverado, the most valuable truck in the game. Well, folks, it's an absolute pleasure right now to be joined by the Sheriff, Shane Hnidy, a Stanley Cup winner, the current TV analyst for the Vegas Golden Knights, who are about to get going in the Stanley Cup Final. And this guy's got a backdrop that looks fake. It's so good out in Vegas right now.
He's in Hawaii.
How you doing, Shane?
I'm doing great. Yeah, this is the backdrop. It's not by choice. It's just I got a full household. Yeah, I'm not in Nipawin, Manitoba right now, where I'm from. This is I'm not in my parents' backyard. I'll tell you that.
How many kids you got? How many you been dumping a lot of loads or what?
Well, yeah, long time. Now it's just blanks, bud. Been blanks for years. I've got them right. I got 4 between 16 to 25.
Oh my goodness! A lot of Kleenex around. How many boys?
Wow! So you're in the midst of the
He's
big
16.
Oh Jesus!
And he is proof that we are not a smart species. just the things that happen. And then I work with his team and all those kids that age. It just takes you back, and boys, men, males, we got a lot to learn.
Rocks for brains, or hey, can he snap it D to D though, or can he snap it tape to tape?
He's forward. He's a forward. He's a one-way straight. He's easily like red line, and he's great.
You got him working in Vegas yet? Is he working there yet, Nides? You got him set
Working
up
the
at
tables?
like
Paper
some
route?
casino? Is he running valet? Is he doing valet driving?
He should, because the tips. No, he's working. He just works at City National Arena. He goes and helps out there. Little rink rat. That's good. A lot of the kids do. That's good for them.
So take us through kind of how you got to where you're at with the Golden Knights. I mean, it's just been an incredible 6-year run for this team. What was your beginning to getting involved there? How did it all go down?
Well, I was with the Winnipeg Jets, right? I was working TSN. I was there. That's how I got into broadcasting. Originally, I got the call from I hadn't even retired yet. This is how the team had moved from Atlanta to Winnipeg, and it was August of 2011. It was literally my day with the Cup. I was in a limo with my family, my parents, my brother, his family, because the drive from Winnipeg, the only airport, to Nipawin, Manitoba, where I'm from, it's still a 2-hour drive, but I got a call and they asked if I'd be interested. And I said, well, give me a minute. Let me think about it. Today's probably not a great day. I'll call you in a couple. And anyways, it worked out. Loved working with Winnipeg. That's my home province. But, when this Vegas thing came, I think everybody threw their hat in the ring. If you were in the business, you wanted to be part of it. And I had a feeling that it was going to be successful. Not my wildest dreams to what it has become. But I was lucky enough. It was kind of a rush summer. I loved TSN. Was terrific. I got to work a lot there. They pretty much groomed me for broadcasting from radio. Then I went to TV, then started doing national, then international. It's a great place to kind of learn the craft. And then, I had the opportunity to come here, and year one was something special. I was talking to business buddy Gary today. We were talking with him and Dave Gosher, and we were recapping, remembering that first year. And I remember us having conversations right at the beginning. Okay, we're gonna have some long nights. How are we gonna call these games? There's gonna be, there's gonna be some absolute blowouts. It's gonna be a shitstorm, and it never happened. They just kept winning and winning and winning, and then the next thing you know, they're in the final. It was just, and I had this statement I said that year that Gary likes. I said, in all the years, everybody now 32 teams. If you don't win the Cup, season's a loss. I would say that's the only time I've been a part of something where they didn't win the Cup, but didn't matter that season. That was a success. And to me, the most historic, you're a big sport guy. Is there a more historic inaugural season in sport than that first year?
Not that I could think of. I wouldn't be good with like first year MLB or NBA teams. But it was. I mean, you guys were using one of the things I said from NHL Network on the pregame on the ice show for half the season when I said they're going to be the doormat for the entire league. Funny you said everyone threw their hat in the ring for Vegas. I remember. I know I tried to become a scout for them. And I don't remember who it was. He told me to take. Really? Yeah, it was before the pod. I was like, I don't know what to do. I have to do something. Like maybe I'll
I
scout
think
for
it
them. The
worked out
guy's
pretty
like,
good
yeah,
for you.
we're all set. I'm like, I'm going to start a show and just carve all these people.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Yeah.
And it's such a great idea. You guys kill it, by the way. It's
Oh,
unbelievable.
no, I appreciate that. But it's a great place to work, right? Because, and you mentioned Dave Gosher. He was doing radio for the Bruins. And I think most Bruins fans would say they were kind of hoping he'd end up taking over for TV. And you guys grabbed him. I think he's one of the best in the league play-by-play.
Terrific. And, great friend. We have a ton of fun. He's got an incredible call. Great voice. And he only has one regret, that he never patented Get the Ducks boats ready, because he was the first one. And how many times have they used it since?
Oh, I don't know. Dave Portnoy's going to have a problem with that one. We got to find out. He claims he's the first one. I'd love it if it wasn't that Muppet.
Who's got
and it's
the
actual
patent?
Gosher.
Who's got the patent?
Dave doesn't, but he's from what I know, when we won in 2011, and then it was used after that. Obviously, Boston Sports, they kept winning, but I got you guys a little bit of homework.
There you go.
We'll put our research team on it. Yeah.
Shane, I was going to ask you, like, how grateful are you, like, looking back that right out of playing, you took that job? Because sometimes it's not as easy to transition. And for three other guys on the line here, like, I'm so grateful to Rich Nairn and the Coyotes that I got the opportunity to do it, because those jobs are hard to come by. And who are the original guys to kind of take you under their wing? Because I had Tyson Nash, Bob Heathouse, Matt McConnell, like so many great people here where I had a soft landing.
Yeah, it really was. And, it's a good thing I'm not qualified in much else. So that kind of narrowed it down immediately. It's like, and for me, I didn't score goals. I didn't have wit. I didn't have it was a great career. I'm never going to complain. And it came out of it. And I knew I had to do something right away. And I was fortunate. TSN, there's a lot of great people. Paul Graham, number one, really looked after me there. He's the executive director of, runs a lot. I think it was Mark Mayhew. I'm not sure if he's there anymore. And then once I got to the Winnipeg Jets, to me, I put him up there. I know, I love Bob Cole, all the great commenters. Dennis Bayak was like a huge mentor to me. And
he's awesome.
He really,
he's top notch, that guy too.
He's such a quality. And, he taught me how you had to work at it. He taught me how to prep for it. He taught me how to speak. And, I think it's like anything else. Doing radio helped first as well, because it's reps. Brian Munns was part of it. That's who was my first partner to help. You get reps. And then you learn from that and you move on. So everybody there and Dennis Back, Paul Edmonds, anybody I did play-by-play with, really helped me along the way. And, so radio was great. The best thing was, I think they started as Brian Engblom and maybe Mike Johnson rotating in TV. And some reason nobody could make it. I think it was year two. They gave me some wireless mics. They threw me between the benches. They said, go. And that's, I was like, oh, this is cool. I get to mark all the plays. I get to watch. And it's tough for a guy. Like when I played and you're on the ice, I was looking in the crowd. I'm looking everywhere. I'm between the benches now. I'm like, I got to really focus here. I'm talking to a director, producer. So it was when I went home that night and I said, okay, now I know what I want to do. I want to do TV. So
yeah. I think that's
awesome.
the best too. I've gotten a chance to do all that, like same steps as you, Nides. And, one thing I think of, and I don't know if you can remember through your lengthy career, sometime in the minors, all the teams you played on.
Which league?
Yeah. Yeah. The I, the A, the E, like you almost have all the alphabets covered, but it's like, could you imagine you're doing what you're doing now? Was it like your teammates said anything to you? Was it your parents? Was it your agent that was like, Shane, you might want to think about this, or how did this just hit you that you would be good at this? Or was it just something that kind of fell in your lap as an opportunity?
I think it fell in my lap. I remember I used to go on in Boston on the Hillman Morning Show, and I loved that. So I kind of had an inkling. I'm like, this is pretty cool. I think Lyndon Byers was on there, and they had fun. And I was like, that was the first time I went in studio, and I'm like, these guys have some fun. Maybe something like this. And it's funny, when we were in Boston, Matt Chimera was like, because Sean Thornton and I used to go back and forth. We were best friends. And he's like, oh, you guys should do like an HBO special where you guys just go out and talk, what you guys are doing now. But this was back in like 2010. We're like, oh, no, that's crazy. There's no way that'll kill our careers.
We'll be kicked out of the league.
So I always had an inkling of talking about hockey. And, it wasn't a far move for me to move to between the benches from between the forwards and D. I had a great view there. So, and that always been my strength, was watching the game. I took a lot of whatever skill I had that was good enough and enough things. I was tough enough, not tough, but tough enough to hang in there and do whatever. And willing, I guess willing's a better word for that, to do whatever it was to stay in the league.
Shane, it's funny you say that because like all the local radio I would do KUPD in Arizona. Yeah. Like I got into some riff with a porn star at one point on this local radio show in Arizona, but that's where I kind of was like, oh, this would be cool doing something in media along with the Twitter aspect about it. But it's just funny that related to that. And also from I was a grocery stick too, right? I separated the D and the forwards, and because I wasn't playing as much, I got more opportunity to just observe all these different guys in these different positions, like kind of watching what Sean Burke was doing with the goalies. Like, how the fuck are these guys playing so good all of a sudden? And whatever the D were doing, or whatever the top guys were doing on the power play, so enough to siphon from it to maybe understand it and explain it on radio or whatever you may be.
And that's how you learn the game, right? Watching. Like, that's what we do. That's why I'm glad like Tortorella came out and then Cassidy. Get rid of these iPads for guys. When you're playing a game, you should be watching. Cassidy moved it just to timeouts for them to use it. I know Tortorella took them off, but that's, working like their high school team.
They don't watch, do they?
They don't watch games. They watch TikTok. It's all clips. All clips. I'm like, watch the damn game.
OnlyFans models.
That's where you're going to learn. Yeah. And do you guys know, before I won with Boston, I was almost Biz's teamate.
Really?
You remember Biz? I went to 2010 as a free agent. Well, I couldn't get insurance. I didn't have a contract because my body's been beat up.
That's right. Yeah, we were in Arizona.
So I stayed with
together.
Derek Morris. So Mo, I called him up. I was living with him in camp. And literally I had a good start to camp. It was a few days before they were heading to Prague. My agent's like, okay, they want to get something done. And that practice, I got hit and I felt like a click.
Oh.
And I held off as long as I could. End up being rotator cuffed. But my favorite story, Biz, I don't remember. We went to the sushi place. It's a long bar sushi place. And this was right when Twitter, like, we had no idea. You guys would have been saying, what's this guy's on Twitter. And I remember it was right at the time you got in trouble for something about grooming with women.
Oh yeah.
On the Twitter, and Maloney made you get off.
Yeah, and I got a big pee-pee whack from Don Maloney. That was probably one of about four.
And then I remember we all ordered sushi, and I was like, I'm sitting there, I'm the only guy, and I think you came late, and all of a sudden they're like, no, he has your order. Biz has he's chomping down at the end.
Perfect.
Oh, he's like an animal.
Shut the fuck up, Whit.
He was very
This guy's a mutant to eat with.
Oh, yeah.
I thought it was community.
Anyways, that's my Biz story.
Yeah, Jans is going to be listening to this and like finding a way to get in touch with you, and he's going to be like, this idiot when he eats. Like,
hey, what do you want to get to share? You want to get something to share with? I'm like, I'm getting this steak. You want to share it? You want to share it? I'm
get
like,
this
no.
guy away from my table. Here comes Granada.
I haven't picked out my own meal in 5 years of working with this guy. He just picks out everyone for me at this point.
I'm not as bad as RA though, but
RA he'll fall asleep, wake up, and then eat your meal when you go to the bathroom.
It's funny though. You brought up Cassidy and the iPads, and what a turnaround for this team going from not making playoffs to where they are now. And a big component as to why we wanted to get you on was to break down this team who's set to potentially win a Stanley Cup. It's been a retooling. There's been no love lost in some of the moves they've made. It's been very cutthroat, but it seems like they have a very good concoction in order to potentially lift Lord Stanley with this Golden Knights team.
And it started when they lost, right? Like they lost to Washington in year one. Washington was a better team. I think, George McPhee's incredibly smart. Kelly McCrimmon. They looked at their team and they're like, and they watched the winners. You got to have a stud defenseman. You got to have a number one center. So it's taken time. You need some X factors in there. So they acquire Stone. They acquire Alex Pietrangelo. They acquire Jack Eichel, which finally I think was kind of that final piece for them. And then they somehow they managed to get more guys around that. And this is the best team they've constructed, but they did it with a mindset of a 4-line. They wanted depth. They wanted it down the middle, and they wanted a big mobile D-core. That was it to fit in. And then bring in a guy like Bruce Cassidy that plays that kind of hybrid zone system, which to me, I think it came off from like Claude Julien. We played that under him in Boston. I think Cassidy took it, evolved it. I think this year Montgomery kept it, just added the offensive layers to Boston's game. So Cassidy came in And he totally, changed that defensive zone now where it's handoffs and it's communication. It took them a little while to get it. And this is a deep team. It's all year long. They've found ways to win. And I think there's, they didn't have a 30-goal scorer and they didn't have a 70-point guy. And they still won the West. And now they're in the finals. So, it's the way they constructed the group. It's the way they wanted to play. Cassidy's a really good guy at adjustments in game. He's really got a little bit of the old school accountability factor.
Oh, yeah.
And
you
I
make
like
a mistake, they go right to him. He's motherfucking the guy.
And he said it in preseason. He sat Marchessault. He took Guy like, this is the way it's going to be. It's not going to just be, the business, the 90s of it. We're gonna throw anybody down here, if you're not going to perform. So I think that was said early, and then they've just built their game all year long. The only thing, and he's used it a lot, is he says this team can get stubborn a little bit and get away from their game a little lax. I think you saw that in game 4 and 5 against Dallas. And then maybe their best game they played, well, not maybe, their best game all playoffs was game 6 against Dallas. They played well against the Oilers in 5-6. They had ability to turn it up. And I think they just wear teams down because they roll 4 lines. Like, you guys hear Cassidy's, they got a little blurb of a speech. He said, boys, we're not chasing matchups. 4 lines, 6 Ds tonight. Let's go. That was what he said heading into game 6. And that's the way they play.
Love that.
So kind of a long-winded question, but the team came out. You mentioned the first season. It was incredible. And I think that created a sense of like, all right, well, we're good. We got to stay good. And they had these guys that made up like the original misfits. But then, and I've been hard on them, as Biz said, it was cutthroat. I mean, they were gassing guys. It was like, get rid of him, bring in him, and the Stone deal. And then they signed Petro and they got Eichel. But of all the people they've moved, you look at the original 6 that were there that year. I think it's McNabb, Theodore, Whitecloud, Smith, Marchessault, Carlson. It's almost been like they've looked at those guys, and Whitecloud's come up the past few years even more. But they were saying this is our core of guys that were here and that we don't want to move, as much as everything else around them's changed. And then look at what they're doing this playoff.
Yeah, and you missed one of my favorite. Whitecloud kind of came in. I don't think he was in that playoff run, but Will Carey. Probably my favorite.
And they're probably the most time. Fuck, yeah, I didn't know that either.
I didn't know that either. And then I read it this morning. I forgot him, of course.
He's got a fucking melon on him. He's a bison head, eh?
He is so strong. And he's one of the greatest dudes. Like, he's just he's like the Mr. Fix-It here on the team. We did a pod with him. He like fixed like the sauna in the room. During COVID, he went back to Quebec. He built his own house. He's like, he does cars.
The tool man
that's
Taylor.
Redefining the 4th line grind roll right there. Fuck, he should be making 3 sheets.
But he just works. And yeah, you're right. Those guys like William Karlsson, to me, everybody, 43 goals that first year. That's not him. He hit lightning in a bottle. But he is, having played with Patrice Bergeron and the reliability he has, Karlsson's not there, but he's a real good version of that type of player. And right now he's heating up and he's got 10 goals. He had 14 all season. He's got 10 here in the playoffs.
And he's just a horse too. He's just a horse.
And Marchessault competes too as well. Both those guys.
Yeah. I mean, Karlsson was all over McDavid. Yeah, he's a defensive shutdown center, and now he's throwing in the offense again. I just look at the team, and I picked Florida because I feel like they're a team that's, I haven't picked them once, so I'm going to mush them. But I look at it like you can't get to the net against this team. They have 4 lines, like you said, but then all the D-men, they're all monsters. They're all big and strong, and it goes to be said it was similar. Tampa had a bunch of big monsters on their back end winning the cups.
The length, right? They're long. So it's tough to get to the inside when they play the right way. And, Nick Hague's the biggest. They're 6'6", whatever he is. He's a monster, and he can move. Pietrangelo, you forget how big he is. I see him every day. I'm like, he's a big dude. Like, he's 6'3", like 215. And Martinez is the smallest guy. I think he's 6'1" or 6'2", 215.
And he plays big.
And he plays big. White Club. McNabb's a monster. Theodore, he's that different player there, and he's the one player I'm expecting. There's another gear to his game, and this is the time when they need to see it.
I think McNabb's like your guys' Gudis. He's just like reckless. He'll like steamroll guys. He's a motherfucker to play against. He's a prick, which leads me to like look at this lineup too. Like McCrimmon comes in. And I look at the lineup, Nides, and you and me, this is for us. Woo, woo, woo. Western
boys?
guys.
Western boys.
11 guys.
Oh, here we go.
11
Throw both
guys
ways,
on
love
the
their
roster. Throw both, love their beers, Western guys, all through this lineup.
Yeah.
You know, McCrimmon went and got these guys, but these are guys that just play hockey. They're just good team
absolutely.
guys.
If you didn't
Play
sleep
better
on
than
a sleeper
Westerners.
bus, you can't play on our team.
Even better, there's 4 Manitobans. Four?
Yeah.
I think there's 4. Howden,
Colasar, Stone.
Colasar, Stone. And who are we missing? There's one more. White
If you
Cloud.
don't bail hay, Whit, you ain't getting on the fucking roster.
If your hands haven't held a plow, you
Put it
ain't
this way.
playing
This
for
is
the
why I
Golden
couldn't
Knights.
scope for the team. Too soft to even scope
That's
for him.
been too early.
Yeah,
I think they have
but
the
they're like,
most
let's see your
Canadians,
ankles,
too.
Whit. Hey, they're like, let's see your ankles. They're like,
He's getting a
fuck, this guy
pedicure at
can't
the fucking
scout.
golf club with a Mai Tai in his hands. Hey, have you looked at that Weidman? It's like,
No,
No offense,
it was on the
Whites.
course.
no offense.
Wide,
Oh, I love it.
Weidman, good dude.
Awesome.
So,
Good dude.
going into your career a little bit, I mean, you grinded, right? I mean, you had a long time playing in the minors. Army mentioned the leagues, and there had to be a moment when you're like, I don't know if I'm ever getting a chance, or were you able to stay strong-willed in terms of, I'm going to get there at some point?
Well, going from junior to Baton Rouge, Louisiana for the first inaugural season of hockey down there, it was an eye-opener. And my head coach, any guesses?
Oh, it was Pierre Maguire.
Pierre Maguire.
No
Pierre
way.
Maguire. I was doing
And-
little notes on you before the
and
pod.
Pierre was really influential. He's the first guy. So I went down there and whatever. I'm 20 I can't even, not even legal. I was drinking, but it's, but they loved it. Like it was crazy. It didn't last long. I think it was initial surge. They thought this new sport was crazy. We're in Louisiana at Baton Rouge, great spot to be. And I was only there a couple months. And, Pierre was the first guy that ever said, hey, if you keep working this, you're going to make it. And I got called up to St. John, and I had coaches back then that I was ready to quit the game. Probably Paul Baxter, who I went to the Flames organization in St. John. This guy was just a dick, and he almost had me quit hockey. Right, but I came back. Then I moved to the IHL, and Davey Allison was the head coach in Grand Rapids, and that he got my confidence back. Travis Richards was the longtime defenseman there, and he said, "You're going to be partners," and he said, "Nobody touches him." So I'm like, "All right." So that year, I think I had 22 majors. And when you're 22 in the IHL, then you don't know who these guys. And half these guys that come down, they can all fight. That year,
There's no YouTube. There's no YouTube.
Phil
Check the
Crow,
game
Mel
notes.
Engelstad, all these guys. I'm like, they're not. There's no clips to watch, so it's kind of figuring it out on the go. But it was great, and just continue to grind my way. And then my first team I signed with, the Wagon Red Wings, in their midst of winning those 2 cups in the 90s.
And I think that you grew up a massive Yzerman fan, correct? Where you had a poster on your wall in your room, and there's a pretty cool story about when you finally. Or maybe I'm lying about the poster. Maybe
No.
Oh, you actually did.
It was a
and then you
different
ended up-
This is
poster.
pretty good. This is I'm
was a
impressed.
different
I'm impressed.
It was
Biz.
Carmen Electra washing that car that every
No.
kid had.
It was Christina Applegate.
Yeah, but no, you had
In
a
an
poster.
Yzerman jersey.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. Fuck. Whit had the same fucking poster, but you ended up finally then getting to meet him, and it was a pretty cool story of when he came up and your first introduction to him. No.
That is some great research. Yeah, it was in Red Wings camp, and I did. I grew up loving Stevie Yzer. My mom might have loved him more, but loved Stevie. And when we went to Red Wings camp, you're rookies, and it was cool. Like there, they did in Traverse City, and back then, it was a Hall of Fame team. Those guys would load the bus with clubs and beer and go up to Traverse City to do main camp. We would get to go do things, and we'd fish, and then we'd go. Anyways, we're in a restaurant one night around the table, and it's just all us young guys. And Stevie Y walks up, and he's like the captain, and he just comes over. He knew our names, kind of knew where we played, asked how we're doing, and all this. I'm like, wow, this guy is, not only grew up kind of idolizing him, he's just first class all the way, and just a tremendous human. You can see why he's a leader, and what he does now is, continues to do everything with first class. He's just a tremendous human being. A good research, Biz. That I don't know where
he
you
just
pulled
knew
that
all
out
your
of.
names because he's like, I'm going to be eventually trading all you motherfuckers.
Yeah, it could have been that.
I'm going to be fucking bending other GMs over with you guys and getting conditional picks, motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Every time there's a trade on, I'll come over the ticker from like Elliot Friedman. I'm like, does this guy have like a private investigator following this other GM around and have some dirt on him? Jesus, he hasn't lost a trade since he stepped in. What's
How
that?
many times were you traded?
I actually was never traded. Nobody wanted me. I got picked up by waivers. And as I always say, as one man's trash is another man's treasure. And Arizona got me doing fucking KUPD hits, and the rest is history. I mean, I was going to ask you this one too, and we go back to the original misfit about Carlson is, Vegas being the team they are in a non-traditional market, they kind of like to give their players exposure, and you got the opportunity to go over to Sweden and spend some time with them where you guys filmed some stuff for the Knights. Like, what more did you get to know about him as a person? And I agree. I don't think I knew how good he was defensively before this run, and he's really, once again, blossomed come these playoffs times.
Yeah, I got a chance. That was a good thing about these Golden Knights is they got creative, like in year one, right from everything we saw from what the game presentation, everything you can do in Vegas. They're going to take advantage, and I think we'll see more of it here going into this. But with Carlson, they asked me to do this origins piece, kind of go to his hometown, see where he grew up, go to his parents' house, and just made me feel my parents never looked after my stuff like that. They had his whole room. It was like a Hall of Fame, all his sweet gold helmets. Everything set up beautifully, went to his apartment. He is a nice guy. He's very quiet, soft-spoken. He's got a good humor to him, but he's got such a good demeanor about him. And I think that's why he's successful. There's zero ego whatsoever on this guy, willing to do whatever it takes to play hard and condition. I did so those Swedes work out. So I did the workout with them one day, and they do the Wingate, the one like after a leg workout, they do 3 Wingates.
What?
With a 30-minute rest in between on Tuesday. I think it was Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I joined the one, and I did one. And I think I did the second. And then I'm like, I can't. Like he got one more in me. I'm like, no, I'm done. But they train like their legs are those sweet. And we've all played with a sweet.
For the RAs out there, can you describe the Wingate after a workout? Like what the Wingate test
so it's
is?
When they drop the weight. It's like it's basically only a 30 to 45 second ride, but they drop the weight depending on your weight. Like it's like riding at the highest tension possible, and that 30, 45 seconds feels like 10 minutes. Like I'd rather do. What's the other one? The VO2, where you ride forever. That Wingate sucks so bad. And I thought that's supposed to be the perk of never playing again, is never doing it. But I went over there, and they're like, you got to do this. I'm like, I'm not a young man anymore.
You must have been just having PTSD from like doing it all the time.
So I got invited, the worst. And where I'm sure you got invited to the NHL testing. And that was the first time that I was able to do it. And I would say the puke ratio was, if 100 guys did it, 40 guys puked after doing it.
I'm older than you guys. I missed. They never had rookie camps or
like beer
anything.
drinking
I was
contest.
drafted in '94. Like when speaking of those Detroit camps, I remember before you go to Traverse City, you rode those old bikes. Remember the 15 RPM or 1500? I don't know if you ever seen
like
them.
Monarchs.
They're really old.
The Monarchs.
It's like a slow cruise. Yeah, it's like a slow cruise. You rode that for 6 minutes. They took your heart rate. You did bench press, you did pull-ups, and then you hopped on the bus. It was like that was the best.
Army was picked in 01 by the Pens. I was 02. Biz was 03. And at that time, the Penguins had
Oh
nothing.
my God.
They had no rookie camp, no testing.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
Well, we did have testing with that
No,
old
the testing
trainer.
was,
Remember when
go
he would
tell me
say
how
it
many
was
sit-ups you did.
Go back and say 100.
And as soon as you hit 100, stop. Every guy wouldn't even do them. They just
I
say
got 100. By the way, though, you guys mentioned the testing for the draft you did, Biz. I was at that as well. And it's funny that comes up because Sam Bennett, if you guys remember, was the kid who couldn't do one pull-up. And look at him now. So how much of a joke is that whole pre-draft 17-year-old testing, because the kid's a tank and is a killer out there, and he got ripped on for not being able to do a pull-up.
I love the way he played. It's so true. It's what you do on the ice. It's, that's the hockey IQ, hockey heart. do it on the ice. You can do all. I've seen guys that stress out so much about testing, and I'm like, just go on the. I was never going to win any testing prize. I'll tell you that. But when it came to going on the ice, I'd be ready in camp. Speaking of that, I've become a huge fan of I love the way the Panthers play.
Yeah,
I was on them. I was cheering for them in the East. Paul Maurice was another guy I should go back. He was huge to my career. He was the coach of the Jets back then, and he used to bring me in and show me stuff. He's he might be one of the best vocal motivating coaches around. Like, he makes guys want to run through a wall. He gives good speeches.
Holy shit! What was going on in Winnipeg where those guys couldn't get going after those types of speeches? Like, and I feel like he left so gracefully too, saying like, "Hey, I think that my message is just falling on deaf ears, and I can't get through to these guys, and I think my time's done here." Like, and then he goes there and pulls off this.
Like, being that good at what you do, being that good at like speeches and kind of motivating and understanding people. You know what I mean? They're good coaches, but they're not. He's good with people. He gets it. He can walk into a room. He can hammer it. He knows people. He can talk to guys. Can you imagine just feeling like that?
Yeah, like they're not doing, like, anything I say doesn't work. I don't.
Yeah, it's like, what am I doing here?
It's like me talking to my family. Nobody listens.
Go you're outside.
Exactly.
Hey, let me ask you. Let me ask you. So where you live right now, where you are right now, is that where you moved right away when you moved there, or has it been kind of like you were like, oh shit? Because I think some guys moved there early and then they were like, oh shit, we got to move somewhere else because the practice rink is here. Like, no one knew where to go in Vegas when they initially got there.
God, the Palms penthouse was a bad idea.
The Palms. There's two areas, right? A lot of guys, there's Henderson, but everything for the Golden Knights is in Summerlin, which is where, I came right here. I wanted to be close to the arena, and then the school where my kids were going is right there too. Like, I've got everything with 2 miles. I think I'm 2.5 miles from the rink. So I'm about 2 miles from my golf course, which is important. My country club. I got the rink here. The kids drive now. They're all old. So no big deal. It's a great community out here in Summerlin. All the guys are out here. You're right. Some of them, I think Fleury was out in Henderson. Derek England kind of guided guys about where to go, but eventually they've all kind of migrated to right around here.
I played with Derek England. I think, Army, you might have, and as well as you, Whit. And going back to that inaugural season, we were actually the first game you guys played against after that tragedy and shooting that took place. And for Derek England to step up and take the mic before that game and hit it out of the park, like, I was like, oh my God, like, I had goosebumps. I have goosebumps now talking about it. And then you guys went out and throttled the Coyotes, right from the beginning. That must have been such a special moment, and obviously a devastating thing to be a part of. But I feel like that's when things really started taking place there with the community and the bond and everything that's happening.
It without question, just bonded the organization, the Golden Knights, and this community. And, in a time of horrific tragedy, here comes this team in their first season. Nobody knows what to expect. You're trying to grow the game of hockey. And they come out, and I was there, Biz. I'll never forget that game for the rest of my life. That went from just unbelievable emotion to all of a sudden just erupting, giving people something to cheer about for the first time, in weeks since that tragedy had happened. And they just, out of the gates, I don't know if there was a team that would have beat them that night.
4 goals in the first 8 minutes. Yeah, I was like, what the hell? I couldn't hear myself.
Incredible. And then that's what I said. It just continued, like, out of the gate. And, real deal James Neal was, we just did an alumni tournament. We started England, and I kind of started alumni. Neal was we just did it Tuesday. So a bunch of former NHLers around. We had a great time. I hadn't seen him in years, but such a big part of that. Some great guys that came out, and then the team just, they lifted up this community when they needed it the most. And that bond has been there now, and it has just grown. Like, one of my attractions here was to see our sport, all of us, has been so good, grow at a grassroots level. And it is just, they can't keep up with enough rinks for the demand right now. It's incredible.
That's awesome. And I look forward to doing some acid dabs with the TNT panel and getting ready for this, the whole, the way they start the game. Are they planning anything?
Can't wait.
Really crazy for the final? Are they going to go over the top as they normally do?
Well, they haven't let me in on any of that.
Larry Flint's going to have
creative department. Did you see
Larry
that?
Flint's
Did
gonna
you
have
see-
chicks doing ping pongs out of their pussy on the fucking ice right before they drop
Did
the
you
puck.
see Larry Flint?
I saw his
thing today that they
everyone's a VIP member, right, Knights?
Yeah, a lifetime.
Lifetime.
Not a player anymore.
I saw that. I saw that just come across. Lifetime
Yeah,
You're
members.
like, I'm
yeah.
the third string goalie.
Is it like that there, no Knights? Is it crazy there? Like with, like I went and visited there a few times. Went out for dinner with Patch when he was there, and Ike's took me up to their like cool golf club. I forget where it's like super nice up there. But my Uber ride going around town, like everyone's talking about the Golden Knights. Like in a city that is, you know, star-studded and has, you know, shows coming in and out. Are these guys are just like legends there, hey? Like, can you go around town? Can even you and Ghosh, you guys probably can't even get around.
It's remarkable how much I probably get that more than when I played, which I don't know if that says much about my playing career. But they really have. And the thing about Vegas that it's not a huge town, like for the locals, and we really look after each other. Like, you know, everybody, it's incredible. It's a smaller town than your city than you'd expect for people that you run into, whether it's on the strip, whether it's out here in Summerlin, whether, you know, and whatever place you're at, you always run into somebody you know or know somebody you know. And this is becoming a sports hub, right? You know, the Raiders have come in. Looks like the A's are going to come in. I know it just constantly built. The money's ridiculous here. I know they're looking at building another new arena that, you know, eventually NBA. But the thing that's going to be here that the Golden Knights did, and whoever had the Vegas Born slogan for marketing, that's what connects the community. That's always going to be their team. It was born here. The others are going to be transplants. Those are a huge thing. Like, you know, NFL's a beast. The Raiders are the Raiders, but it's 8 home games.
I was just going to rip on you because I ripped on Colsey about his bad gear wear. And I'm looking at some of these pics online of your facial hair. I feel like you had every you had
from
the
the back in the
flavor,
day,
savor, you had every style of goatee known to man, frosted tips. Every single picture you touch on Hockey DB, it's like, oh my God, Jesus.
He had like the shaved eyebrow line.
You had the heart,
don't worry,
heart in your head like Drake.
My kids, they go after me for some of those big time. Big time.
But now you're going for it on TV. You got like the golden vest mixed with the like golden pipe
Vegas.
suit liners. Oh yeah, he's putting on a show. Even Knives. Let's
Coke
go, the
pocket on
sheriff.
the side here.
I never thought I'd have this many pair of gold themed shoes.
Yeah. A good guy
it's
from
incredible.
Manitoba.
It's got the bottle opener on the bottom.
I can't walk back. I can't walk through my hometown. My boys see that. I'd be in trouble. They'd like, where's the 3/4 length Metallica shirt? Let's get that out. Let's get the Poison, Motley Crue shirts. Let's rock the cutoff jeans. Let's go somewhere.
Yeah, they're all calling to come visit you.
How nice is it having the travel too, right? You're on the jet, you're eating the meals, like it's nice, right?
Yeah.
The way you're traveling around.
And it hasn't changed, right? That's the one thing I've been very fortunate. Stepped like right out of the game of doing that and then staying at it. So it's I just don't know any different. It was funny, like when COVID hit, the first time in my life that I didn't have a schedule. Like, you know, I'd played, moved away from home at 15 to play junior, and always had a schedule. And you're always traveling. And then I'm like a month in, I'm like going stir crazy. Like, what's going on? And then I kind of got used to it, to be honest. Then I'm like, hey, there's like weekends. There's like, you know, like rip over there. I'll call a game off monitor, come home. And so there was another adjustment. We started traveling again. But yeah, it's great. They look after us.
Back to you a little bit. Like, you got your chance with Ottawa. How did that come about? Did you sign with them? Like, how exciting was it to make it to the NHL first game type memories?
So how I made the Ottawa Senators. First of all, I got my rights were with the Red Wings. They traded it. I was fishing with my dad and brother in a remote camp in Manitoba, and the guy came. I had to use a payphone to call Marshall Johnson and said, yeah, we traded for you, the Senators. And I remember I went back, and it was a rainy day, so my brother, my dad, and I were sitting in the tent, throwing back some rum and cokes and playing cards, and we came up with a strategy. It's like, I don't know, it was my brother probably and me. Yeah, they don't have enough toughness there. Lance Pitlick, I think, left. There wasn't tough. Like Ottawa they were built for post 04-05. They were skill and speed. So I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm going to go there. And I remember it was the year Yashin sat out. and then came back. And back then to sit out, you didn't do that. There's no business. He was hated by the whole league. And like, so the first back then, this, I think it was a training camp. I don't even know if I knew there was a puck on the ice. All I did, I remember talking to my agent, he said, just go after Yashin. And I just chased him around. I cross-check, I hack, whack, slash, do everything. Nobody did anything. And then I think Donnie Brennan, who was up there, picked up on it, who loved that type. He's like, what's going on? Who's this guy?
Shit.
So you get noted, do whatever you could to get noticed, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I did. And then, kind of built. And first game of the year was in Boston against the Bruins. I wasn't scheduled. Sammy Selaga, I was the seventh guy, got sick in the morning. And I got the call. So that was my first game, October, which is kind of funny because you mentioned Dave Gosher. We figured this out when we got together. His first call in the NHL was that game with the Bruins against the Ottawa, same game as me.
Holy fuck. That's incredible.
Did you end up going after anybody?
Did you go after anybody?
No, first, so I think I didn't get a shift for like 10 minutes. I can't remember. But I get out there and I'm like Bambi. And all of a sudden, Kenny Belanger comes over. Ready? You ready? Dude, like not a chance. I'm trying to just stand up out here in my first shift in the NHL, my man. Like, give me a second here. And I think we played them 2 or 3 games later. Then, he was my first fight. But it's like, I think he asked me first or second shift, and I was still, one of those ones I went out, it's kind of loop, got the puck, get it off the wall, off the glass, change. There's a lot of nerves. But then eventually learned to, I just stuck and never looked back. So it was great.
Ottawa was loving you for all the because Yashin took him to the cleaners on the contract, right? So they were loving the fact that you were just fucking giving it to him.
Well,
as far as getting traded, maybe Stevie Y saw a picture of one of your goatees or flavor savers. He said, I've seen enough of this. I even went up and knew his name and said hello to the guy, and he's going to grow that on his face. Get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, Kenny Belanger came to challenge him to go his dippity do, and his goatee wasn't even dry yet.
Yeah. Hey, I've seen you guys on one of his bangs. I can pull up all you guys.
I've seen the flavor savers.
I guaranteed you.
Oh, brutal.
I guarantee in Red Deer you had like shaved your sides or.
Oh, I had like a little
white
teen
hair.
stash. I look like a little like nerd. Like, hey
and
guys.
I know what do you college guys do? I'm sure you guys do something.
Spray tans.
Spray tan and then don't shower.
Spring break.
Just try to get a little tan at some point.
Oh,
by
boys, I
spraying
got a
it on.
story about Nides. I got a story. So I'm in Atlanta. He's in Boston. And there's like a little melee. I don't know. The first time I met Nides was like at a fantasy camp. I think Chaser put on in Saskatoon. Yeah, it was a great time. I just like chummed around with Nides for quite a bit that whole week. And anyways, I'm against the boards and Nides comes to like, everyone's kind of pairing off. It wasn't really anything. And he comes up like casually to grab me. And I just like, wow. I just punched him right in the face. Like so hard. Like I don't even know why. And Nides just ate it. And he like grabbed me and he's just like looking at me like, why would you do that? So I haven't seen him in all these years. This is like in 2008. This is like now flash forward like, like 10 years later. And I'm like, oh, hey, for whatever reason, it popped in my head. I'm like, that was like my interaction with Nides that I remember. And I'm like, sorry about like just bombing you in the face.
Suckering you.
Like, dude,
that's all right.
Have you gotten over it?
No, he's like,
are you good?
No, Nides is like, dude, you hit me so hard. I'm like, really?
I'm surprised he didn't just snap.
Right?
Yeah, I thought he was going to kill me when I did it. I was like, oh, God.
I'm surprised I didn't, but.
Me too.
Yeah, I didn't have a long fuse. Usually it would go pretty quick. But hey, that's good.
Nice. That's why I've been hiking.
Yep.
I've been doing a lot of hiking and breathing. It keeps me from my wires crossing. Although I don't know if you heard this story about the fucking asshole telling me to wash my hands before I went on my hike. I almost bopped him just like Army bopped you. Boys, was there anything else you guys want to know about Nights? Like, what about your like going to the WHL? Like, what was your WHL career like?
Buddy, he was in Sasky. He was in Sasky the whole time. All
these crazy places on your hockey DB where you played in the I and the ECHL. Like, are there any really fucked up stories that you can remember? Like, I have plenty from my ECHL days where it just happened differently down at that level.
Well, I remember my ECHL when I went there and why Pierre loved me. I think it was the first preseason game. Like, I fought this guy who was, I think he was like kind of the Ogie, Kevin Evans. I think he had like the all-time penalty record down there. I think it was Kevin Evans. Anyways, I fought him and I beat him. So he like literally went to the box. He's like, I had to come out again right away. Again, I had to fight this guy. Like there was animals. The best story, and I've told this on a lot of podcasts, and I bet, is when I was drafted by Buffalo, and the priest. When you went to camp then, it was so this would have been 94, 5, somewhere in there. And we got sent to Rochester, and it's cool. Like we had like Rue Nader, Bob Westerby, Rob Skurlak, Sean Gagnon, just a bunch. And we played this game right across the border. And we were playing, I believe, Syracuse in an off-site. And there's fights going on. I got in one, and then so I'm in the box. Gagnon, Nader, whatever. There's a brawl. He fought John Baduke. Baduke comes to the penalty box, and I'd love to see this nowadays. And Baduke's on the other team. Gagnon's coming in the box, and they're chirping, and we're turning. Next thing you knew, Baduke climbs over the top, and it's not a short, like climbs up over the glass, then comes down off the top. And I'm the only, they grab everybody out. I'm in there. He's coming down off the top rope on me. And I'm like, all right, here we go. A little cage match. So
you guys were in the box
today.
Going at it?
In the box, yeah.
It's oh my God, I'm watching this. I'm watching this right now.
Send it to the group.
Did you get it?
Yeah. You just have to YouTube Syracuse Rochester.
It's like
brawl.
that.
And they're going again, and the goalies are on the ice.
Hey, it's the Russians in the telephone booth.
Yeah, the telephone booth fighting.
I'm glad you pull it up. Yeah, you watch eventually, and you see Baduke come through. I'm like the last guy in Rochester in the box. Once they sort all that out, I think.
Are you the guy fighting in front of the penalty box as they're fighting in the penalty box?
I think I'm already in the penalty box.
Are you fighting?
I fought before that.
Somebody just pumped somebody outside the penalty box. The guys inside the box are going at it. That's amazing.
And we had a lot of like junior. We had the full bench clearing in Moose Jaw and the crush can when I was in PA.
Oh, what a rank, eh? What a rank.
It was like it was different. The game's changed, probably for the better, for the safer. That's for sure.
Nights, remember when you had to walk off? Yeah, Nights, remember when you in Moose Jaw and in the crush can when you had to walk off the ice through the fans and like, you like almost get in fights with fans. Like one time, like we were getting like pushed. Like you remember when Will Smith and like Fresh Prince when they're bullying him at the basketball court?
That's what they call it, the crush can.
Yeah,
in the crush can. It's
if
ridiculous.
you were on Nights, if you were on one side of the rink at the top, you could just see the top of the boards on the other side of the ice. You couldn't see like
it came like
above it. It crashes down. It's like the Saddle Dome times a million.
It's like advanced version of the Saddle Dome, like to extremes.
They must have a new barn now, right?
Yeah.
What about the Bruins season and the Stanley Cup year? I mean, I see you played 3 games in the regular season and 3 in the playoffs. Like, were you injured? Were you scratched? Like, how did that whole season go for you? And especially with the finals, going on as the time this comes out, down 2-0, lose the road games, just an amazing series to be a part of.
So after Biz almost ruined my career and stole my sushi when I tore my rotator cuff. So that's why I was out. That happened in camp.
Oh.
And that was that year. So I thought my career's done, right? I tried to hang on eventually. And Damo, Coyotes were tremendous to me. They looked after me. I think it was Service. Was that you would have been the guy there. Jason Service, Biz, if you're on your phone.
Oh,
Okay.
no. I was looking at that thing, but no, Jason, we had Jason Service. And like you said, it was the year that we went to Prague and we actually played Boston there.
Yeah.
And that was the year you guys ended up going to win on. So everything happens for a reason, but going back to your shoulder.
And I was miserable. I remember so I went back to Winnipeg and I'm there. And I remember my wife kind of wasn't happy. I wasn't the easiest guy. I'm never the easiest guy, but then it got a little worse. And she's like, get your shit together, stop pouting. And, eventually advanced. And the good thing is the guy who did my surgery did like an advanced rehab. Like when I went back to Winnipeg, the guys there, like I've never seen anybody do this early, but we worked it. And then in January was the first time I got on the ice. And I have an older brother. We never skated together. There's 7 years. So first time I went up and visited him for like New Year's and we went and skated in his beer league and it was kind of cool. So then I got the bug and then went back to Winnipeg and I just rented ice on my own, bagged myself every day, trained in about third week of January. The Bruins call. Well, I talked to Recchi and Chara and they're asking and then Chiarelli brought me in and they said, come see our doctors. Let's see where you're at. So went in and they're like, you're coming along pretty good. keep working and let's talk in February. But, when I talk to the guys, they're like, maybe this is where I got my vocalness from speaking, is they wanted me to come in and be another voice, a veteran guy, depth. Didn't know how my shoulder would hold up if I could play. They didn't think I'd get back in the regular season, but at least be an option. Anyways, that's probably the hardest I've worked in my life, to get back. There's this big light of hope to get back where I thought it was all done. And yeah, in February, I joined the team. They're on a long trip in Vancouver. Ironically enough, I joined them in Vancouver, right in time for the rookie party as well.
Perfect time.
Kind of did practice with them, did a tryout. They signed me after day one, signed me to the rest of the year to come in and kind of specified, this is going to be your role. We want you to be a voice. We want you to be in the room all the time. Claude Julien talked to me, when you can play. And I think I played my first game April 3rd. So still rehabbed and worked. And then, I was a part of it. Playoffs took my role became, I was kind of, social convener and
team guy.
Look after authority, the guys. I was a team guy and, did every warm up through all the whether I played or not. I always give a little speech as I walked out every game. And, that's where I realized, how we all are young in our career. Well, at least the ones of us who've been healthy, scratched and whatever, you get pissy, you get moany, but you realize to have a role on a team, there's so many different ways to do it. And it's funny, it took me till my end of career for that to really sink in and to, feel like you had a piece of it, even though you're not out there physically all the time, but to be there with the guys and go through was incredible. And I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity when I thought my career was over and to go in and it was awesome. It was phenomenal.
That's great
awesome
story.
Hearing that, because Thordy had told me how much you meant to that team and had gone into it a little bit, but I wanted to hear you say it. That and as you said, how lucky you were right when it ended to get the call from TSN and Winnipeg. I mean, you got to finish off doing that and then winning the cup. It's just an incredible kind of storybook ending for a career that you certainly deserved it after all the grinding you did.
I'm still grinding, my man. Yeah, I'm always grinding.
Yeah, you just mentioned you're 2 minutes from your golf course. You live in Vegas and you're flying around a private jet. So settle down.
On a short game.
Are you going to get Are you going to get a ring if the how does that work? I don't really know. Are you going to get a ring if they win the cup?
I don't know. I've never been on that side.
Yeah.
I think they do. I don't think it's the same as the players.
Phil Bork here in Pittsburgh has gotten the rings.
Yes, I do. I know because Gosher has a Bruins one. So, yeah, I should know that.
All right, well, let's go. Go get a ring, baby.
I was also going to ask you, you mentioned getting the ice with your brother. I don't know how close you guys were before that, but were you guys able to even reconnect on a deeper level because of that and share that bond throughout that cup run?
Yeah, he was. They came out to Vancouver. My brother and I have always been close. It's just the two of us. So, my parents too. My mom's like that. She's a very vocal. She was the one. I always tell this story, talk about, in the stands. I'm sure you guys had the mothers too. And with my last name, and poor 12-year-old kid who'd worked the time box and mispronounced it Hindi or Hnidy or whatever, she'd either yell across, it's not here, else. If I really wanted to be embarrassed, you see this lady come down from the stands and walk around to really give the kid shit. But yeah, my
throw
brother
a second assist on there too while you're at it.
Yeah. Let's add him up. But my brother's great, and he was there. Him and his wife were able to make it to Vancouver for Game 7. They were there with my wife, so that was the family I had on the ice.
That's awesome.
Well, Nides, we appreciate you coming on, and I don't know. I believe are we dropping this after Game 2, Biz? Do you know?
Yeah, I think that's the play.
So we'll see. I mean, who knows where the series is going to be at then? But we're looking forward to what should be a really special Stanley Cup final, and we'll catch up with you when we're out there.
Yeah, you guys are coming out here?
I'm going to be there for Game 5.
Perfect.
All right,
not Florida, just one trip, no elbow room.
I mean, possibly. I'll be everywhere.
Merle's is going to the elbow room with Army, so that's taken care of.
Well, I'll see you, Biz. I'm everywhere.
Biz will be at every game.
Buddy. I'm looking forward to seeing you and Gary Lawless as well. And you guys do such an amazing job there with the whole Vegas crew, man. And once again, thank you for your time and congrats on all your success, man. It's a great story.
Thanks, guys. Pleasure. I'm finally glad I got to come on this show. My son, I think this is the first time he'll be impressed.
That interview was brought to you by CHEVY. You guys all know we've made it clear we're a big part of the CHEVY EV family. And we have even bigger news. The first ever all-electric Silverado is officially Barstool and Spittin Chiclets' most valuable truck. We got the chance to see this thing and experience it. It is a complete game changer. 400-mile GM estimated range on a full charge, over 10 feet of length in the bed with the multi-flex tailgate combined with the multi-flex midgate, a large, enormous 17-inch diagonal display screen. It can tow up to 10,000 pounds of max towing, and 0 to 60 in under 4.5 seconds with the WOW mode. Also, don't forget, an impressive 785 foot-pounds of torque. Head on over to Chevy.com to learn more right now. Chevy.com, the new EV Silverado, the most valuable truck in the game.
Big thanks to Shane Hnidy for jumping on us. I was kind of bummed out I missed that interview. I wanted to ask about that Bruins title run, but you guys did a great job as usual. And I love his partner too, Biz. Dave Goucher. I think he's one of the best play-by-play guys in the league, man. He used to do Boston radio when he went out there when the team started up. He's terrific, man.
Everything they've done is first class, and thank you to Hnidy for coming on. What a great story too. I know we've been talking a lot of Golden Knights this one, but they deserve it. And happen for Knights, man, or happy for Knights.
Good stuff. Lots going on in front offices around the league. A lot of suits changing teams, like coaches moving around, general managers moving around. Well, Kyle Dubas does indeed go to Pittsburgh, despite what he said before that. He's going to be the Penguins' new president of hockey operations, just the second person to hold that position with the team. And per James Myrtle, he has a 7-year deal worth about $40 million. Not too shabby. He's going to be the interim GM through July. Then he's going to hire his own GM. He feels what they have there between Sully, Sid, Gino Letang, they can get right back at it, be a contender. Sully's got 4 years left on his deal. So, Whit, I'll go to you. Well, are you surprised he got that title, president of hockey ops?
Not at all.
Okay.
In the rumblings that we heard coming out of Toronto is that he wanted more power. He didn't necessarily want to have to go to Shanahan, and who then went to the board to make certain decisions. And like all of it was, in my sense, about him having more of a say in everything. I'll say this, and I said it before. I don't really know what has made Kyle Dubas this golden child. Like he somehow is the most wanted man in hockey in terms of building a team and an organization. Everyone knew he'd have a job the minute he wanted one if he left Toronto. And he's done a great job. Toronto has had really solid regular season teams. I'll say that he got completely swindled by Matthews and Marner in terms of giving them exactly what they wanted on bridge deals, I'll say, not getting the max term. But he's done a good job overall. If this guy goes to Pittsburgh and it's the same old bullshit of getting into the playoffs and having a good regular season and not doing anything, can we finally say he's not exactly anything close to what everyone thought he was? The golden child of hockey? The genius hockey mind, hockey builder person who needs to take over your team or you'll never have a chance? He has created, or he hasn't even created this reputation for himself. Like the media has built him up to be the Wayne Gretzky / Mario Lemieux of building a hockey franchise without ever doing anything to prove it. He's never done anything. He won one round, and all of a sudden it's like everyone needs Dubas. So you know what? I'm well aware that I know way less than a lot of people in hockey in terms of what it takes to build a team. But if he goes to Pittsburgh, which, by the way, by getting the president job, you have so much more of a lifeline. Like, what's going to happen if they fail? The GM will get fired, whoever he hires. Like, when you're the president, dude, you're way above the GM. You're able to just last longer. But if this team goes on to barely make the playoffs, somehow miss the playoffs, not do anything, then we are done with the Dubas Golden Boy shot. I'm over it. I'm done with it. If he goes to win a Stanley Cup in Pittsburgh, that would be an amazing story as well, because then Toronto are just losers again. But if he somehow does what he did in Toronto and has good regular season teams and gives guys deals that they don't necessarily deserve or need, then we're done with the Golden Boy chat. It's over.
What do you got to say, Biz? You anti-Dubas now?
This will be the last time I mention Kyle Dubas' name out of my mouth. He's a traitor.
I had to.
He's done. He's done.
I don't hate that he played.
He doesn't exist in my world anymore, Whit. You can talk about him all you want.
No, but Biz, hold on. Seriously. Give him not the respect, but give him the credit of using leverage, right? He used leverage. Like, I think ideally if he could have gotten this job in Toronto, he would have loved it. But he used his leverage. He tried to get more, and he got burnt. But like, I don't blame him for that. Maybe the whole "I'll be out of hockey next year." Yeah, that was like Jay Monahan. But he tried to use leverage, but in the end, it just bit him in the ass because he knew he'd be somewhere else.
Well, it didn't bite him in the ass because he got exactly what he wanted, and he probably secured an even bigger bag. Hey, and all the credit to him for doing so. But I agree with you. I was hoping that he would try to finish off what he tried to build in Toronto. Do I think by any means he should have been given a deal that big for what type of success he had in Toronto? No, because I think you should be paid based off the success. And they had, regular season success, but a 7-year deal at 40 fucking sheets. And I don't believe a word out of his mouth if he didn't know that he already had that job lined up before he pulled the fucking shenanigans with the post-game or the post-playoff press conference in Toronto. Can all 5 people on this fucking Zoom right now agree?
Army has to get out of this.
I don't give a fuck,
take me
Army.
off the chat. Take me off the chat. Remove my bubble.
Tell
I'll
him,
say this.
Remove my bubble.
Tell him I don't give a fuck that he unfollowed me on Twitter either. You tell him right to his fucking analytical face.
He unfollowed you, huh?
You tell him right to his analytical face.
I can't believe he unfollowed you.
I know you're entertaining, Biz. I would never unfollow you. He doesn't want to see the hate coming his way.
I'll have to have a chat with him. I'm interested to see what he will do here.
Do you agree with me? Now, don't dodge the fucking question. Do you believe that he knew he had a deal with Pittsburgh lined up before he went into that press conference in Toronto?
Yeah. 100%.
Merles?
Yeah, I would think there was definitely something done.
So let me ask you this. What do you think of somebody's character who would do something like that?
Yeah.
But players do that, Biz. Players do that.
Do you think he didn't want to go back to Toronto at all?
No, I think he wanted he wanted this in Toronto.
Yeah.
That was his dream. That was, I'm not gonna say dream. Like that's what he wanted. And he took a shot. And Shanahan, the dog he is, said, "Get the fuck off my porch." And now he knew he had this lined up 100%. It's business 101, right? Like you have the leverage. You're able to create or try to create what you want. And it might not happen, but with the leverage, I'll just get it somewhere else.
But I do have to thank him because he brought us Brad Treliving.
And he brought you that first round win.
And that is who's going to bring us to the promised lands. So if anything, a little bit of pain in the beginning because I can no longer be a doobie. But he showed us his true colors and he can move on and go down the road to Pittsburgh.
Doobie's getting Barbashev. He's going to get Barbashev.
No, they don't have any room. They can't afford him now.
They got room. Everyone's out. There's guys' contracts are up all over the place.
Hey, we're gonna have
Pitt has a lot of room, right? Pitt has a lot of cap room, I think.
They got Dumoulin's up, Jari's up. Like he talked about what he's going to do with him. I don't know. There's like lots of UFAs that are expired. I think Zucker's up. You got a lot of guys that you have to make decisions on. Maybe some trades to be made. I think this summer Doobie's going to be just schlinging. He's going to just be schlinging. I can't wait to see it.
Well, we
want to win here.
Hey, we
want to win again.
Let's just remember they're his moves. And even though he's going to hire a GM after these moves are made, we can't blame these moves on the new GM to fire him. He needs to take responsibility.
But Biz, whenever the GM gets fired, he ain't going anywhere.
I'm going to do you one better. I'm actually going to I'm going to block Sidney Crosby's number out of my phone.
Biz, we're looking for a sandbagger against. Please don't do that, Biz.
I don't give a fuck.
Don't overreact, Biz.
I don't give a fuck. Crosby, you're done too, buddy. Malkin, nope. Gonzos.
Oh, wow. Who else you got in there that you got to get rid of?
Goodbye. That's it. That's it.
Yeah, like you just mentioned, Biz, Brad Treliving takes Dubas' old spot after 9 years in Calgary. He didn't seem as preoccupied with the core four, probably as you were. It sounds like he's going to be open to moving somebody if he needs to. But right now, the Leafs have $44.7 million spent on forwards, and 33.5 of that is on 3 guys. And the other 4 other forwards currently signed: Nylander 6.9, Jan Krok 2.1. Laffy 1.15, and then Nyes on the entry level deal. So I don't know. You got to think if they're going to do something, they got to move somebody at some point, right?
Doobie left a hot steaming pile of dog shit to work with, but Brad Treliving will figure it out and right all of Dubas's wrongs.
Does he keep Keefe? Biz?
Yeah,
I think that he does for a year. Yes.
All right.
Why?
I just think that he wants to see how maybe he can evolve. I mean, it sounded like in the press conference that's what he wanted to do. So I trust he's going to make the right move. And maybe the fact that there's maybe no other candidates that he'd want to go out and sign right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Do
know.
you think do you think that one of Marner, Matthews, or Nylander's not on the Leafs start next season?
The core four.
I don't. I mean, that depends on what Matthews is going to want for a salary, and where they see that for the future. I mean, I don't know. I think that it would be probably smart to get rid of him if he's not that interested in coming back.
And he wants another 5-year deal. Like he wants to create another.
He wants to
revenue
slide
stream
with
at
the cap.
Yes. And also, and then like all of a sudden I'll do another 5-year. I want more than anyone else has in the league, and then I'll hit it again.
Mm-hmm.
So
Merle, what are the odds on the core four, one of them being gone?
Well, the good news is
season?
he's not going to be handed the keys to the entire organization because Doobie's not around, who shares the same fucking agency. Now, let me ask you guys this, and I'll go to you first, Army. Do you think that's a conflict of interest, the fact that they have this whole agency shop? And although
was he an agent though?
His agent,
what's the story?
His agent is with Wasserman, and it was the golf side.
What's his name?
I have no clue. But then obviously we know Judd, the mastermind agent right here, just bending all these GMs over.
I think his name is. Hey, listen to this.
Judd just gets every client
5-year
maximum amount of money. He can
his
get.
agent's name, I believe, is Chris Armstrong. Who do you think?
Oh shit!
Who do you think I know?
His agent's
who do you think
guy
orchestrated all
golf?
this? Who do you think orchestrated all this?
Is that your
to get him
alias?
to Pittsburgh. Who do you think got him to Pittsburgh, bud? Who do you think's really pulling the strings, Busy?
Yeah, I'm still thinking Army's going to end up being GM. He's going to have a call to us. Sorry, guys, can't do Chiclets anymore. I'm new GM of the Penguins.
Army immediately blocks Biz on Twitter.
The only way you could still be hired by Chiclets, Army, is if we get your phone. We get to see what and who you're texting at all times, even your laptop. We want can we make that work? Where we could track everybody he's in contact with.
What do they call that? Can you jailbreak my phone and my computer to be totally in sync with Chiclets?
Yeah, real insight.
I think we'd all be fucked if that ever
What's your
happened.
trust level with Doobie in the hallway first time you see him? Do you give him the dead fish handshake? What do you do?
You know what I think? I don't know. I think he's coming from such a hot market. And I work for Sportsnet up there. I think there's that divide. So I don't know if he's going to I don't know if he trusts me or likes me at all, to be honest with you. I don't know.
Army's going to go up to him.
I don't know.
Like,
I've met him only
Kyle.
in passing one time. Hi, Kyle. Nice.
Kyle.
Hey, Pat, walk
Paul Bissonnette sleeps with the fishes. And then all of a sudden he's in.
He's like the new Lou Lavarello. He did learn under Lou. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I will be
there's two guys handing out too much money on contracts.
We're all going to be in Nashville for the awards and the draft. We've mentioned how great it is the league's doing that. This draft and free agency is going to be the wild, wild west, boys. There's buyout candidates. There's trade candidates. You look at Winnipeg, all these guys they could be moving. We got Dubas trying to make Pittsburgh a cup contender. We got Tree Living trying to shove it in Dubas's face that the Leafs can win more than one round or 57 years, whatever the fuck it's been. So I think that we might have the craziest offseason we've ever had in the NHL this season.
Great call.
Perfect.
Great call.
Before we go any further, here's a word from our friends at Game Time. Game Time is the exclusive ticketing partner of Barstool Sports. Created by fans for fans, Game Time is the ticketing app that makes it easier than ever to score last-minute deals on tickets to sports, concerts, and shows, and they guarantee the lowest price. I can't wait later this summer. Duran's coming to town, old 80s band. Boom, I'm going to Game Time. They're going to hook me up just like they hook you up. It's all possible with the Game Time app. The biggest last-minute price drops can be found on the seats you thought you could never buy. The purchase process takes just 2 taps in 10 seconds. And once you buy your tickets, they're delivered directly to your phone. No printer needed. The app also allows you to easily share tickets with friends via text, so you can get to the game seamlessly. Skip the hassle and enjoy the moment. Download the Game Time app or go to the website, enter your email, and redeem the code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Once again, Game Time app or the website, enter your email, code Chiclets for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Still got some more front office news here. The Seattle Kraken extended Ronnie franchise, Ron Francis. They signed him through the 26-27 season. I think he's already got 4 years under his belt after the year that they had. Not much of a surprise there. New Nashville GM Barry Trotz made his first significant move and got a new sheriff in town. He sacked John Hines and he brought in Andrew Brunette. Just the fourth coach in team history in Nashville. That's it. Only 4. He had great things to say about his Panthers experience. Brunette did. He said, "I love those guys, but I'm very proud of what they're doing." Which it's pretty honest. You don't really hear coaches talking about old teams like that. But what's your take on that? Getting rid of Hines to bring in Brunette. What's your feelings on it?
So I understand where Trotz is coming from, and he was open in terms of he mentioned that he told all of the scouts leading up to the draft, guys, look to hit a home run late. Don't go with the safe pick late. We got to try to find a late pick that could end up being an offensive game breaker. The issue with Nashville basically forever has been their lack of having like offensive game breakers, and they're just such a defensive style team with a great goalie who also could get traded in terms of Saros. But my big issue with this was how long they strung along John Hines, and I have to be open. I'm friends with John Hines. He was coaching me when I was 15 years old in Massachusetts hockey things. He's a BU guy. He's a great person. And with Trotz being a former coach, what they did to him, I thought was kind of unfair, right? I mean, like they had a good year for all the injuries they battled and stuff. Like they ended up like being in the playoff hunt to the last 10 days. And now the argument would be that he has another year, so he's getting paid no matter what this season. But he did kind of put him in a tough spot of just like hanging on. You might be back, you might not, and boom, you're gone. So as a former coach, I think other coaches might have been a little disgusted in terms of like how Trotz was treating that whole relationship. Now it's his job, right? It's a business. I want to make this team as better offensively as I can. I'm bringing in an offensive mind in Brunette. But that was kind of Bush League, I thought, and a lot of other people agreed with that. But I do understand, like, Barry Trotz coached Andrew Brunette. He knows him as a person. He's seen what he's been able to do as a coach. And I think in the end, it could help the team to try to create a little bit more offense and a little bit more creativity for a team who's just always been muck it up, win games 2-1, and we got to learn to score. So just the way he went about it, I think, was a little wrong.
So do you think Trotzy knew you wanted to get him the whole time, and that's what you're kind of saying, or what?
I think it's tough because I think
he had to wait for New Jersey to lose out, right? So
yeah, and he knew like I don't really want Hines as the head coach, so just like making it like I feel like
they should have cut him loose right when the year ended. Okay, go into the market and you have a
so then he can go interview all these other open jobs. That's what you mean. Like
he could be in at the Rangers, and now he's like kind of maybe behind the process a little bit.
Speaking of the Rangers, RA, you got to be panicking right now. Panicking. I think you said it would
he
be
did
last
interview
week.
with the Rangers, Heinze. He did get in there.
I did say last week. It didn't happen last week, but I think the main thing is if he does get hired, I think we could focus on that.
I want to skull it.
That'll be fucking
By the way,
hilarious,
Mark Stone's getting a little skull it action. He's losing it like me up top, but then he's got those long wings in the back. So Stanley Cup skull it.
To go back to the Hines stuff, though, I feel like at the beginning of last year when they really struggled, the organization stuck by him. Like they came out of the gates horrendous the year before last. They ended up sneaking into playoffs, but so I feel like he has been given a decently fair shake.
I know that was just from Poyle though, so it's a little different. It's just a new guy, but no, I agree. He could. There was times when there was a lot of discussion of him being let go. But as RA said, he was their third coach ever. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is pretty. It was a third or fourth. Like either way, that's
well. I think you said Brunette will be the fourth.
Okay, yeah, fourth coach. So they only had 3. That is pretty wild. They've been around for 25, 30 years, close to that. We're not done yet. Anaheim general manager Pat Verbeek. He didn't opt for a previous NHL head coach. He picked a guy his first job in the NHL as a head coach, Greg Cronin, Massachusetts guy. He coached Northeastern. He was assistant in what was he? The Islanders, a couple other teams. Last job he had was AHL Colorado, the Avalanche's farm team. He was there for the last 5 years. Dude, this guy's grinded. He's 60 years old, man. He's been, I think, 87, 88 was the first assistant job he had back at Colby College. So this guy's been grinding for fucking 35 years to get this job. So, what do you know much about Cronin, his coach style or whatever?
A little bit. I know he's a lunatic in terms of like his passion for the game, and like I mean, this guy was one of the coaches when the National Development Program in Ann Arbor began. I think it was 1998, and I heard stories then. Like, you want to talk about intensity?
Yeah,
Greg Cronin will fuck up any player, coach, GM he's ever seen. Like, this guy's a savage. So I'm very happy for him in terms of grinding your entire life and you become a head coach at 60 years old. I can't believe he's 60 years old. He might be the most in shape 60-year-old. I thought he was 50 years old, but an interesting hire nonetheless. I mean, I think Anaheim, once they get Fantilli, has one of the brightest futures in the league. So for me, like, maybe the next few years are a little bit of a struggle, but that was a coveted job in my mind just because of how bright their future looks. But I like seeing new guys get a chance. I think Merles is all about this and getting people who haven't just been thrown around the carousel of coaching throughout the league. And you get a guy who's been everywhere. He's been up and down in every single league, basically in North America. He finally gets his chance with a young team that has a crazy bright future. So we'll see what happens. He's definitely going to be intense, though. I think those guys got to be ready to play hard. And I don't know how Dallas Eakins was as a coach, but I don't think you're going to have as intense of a coach around the league, really, as Greg Cronin, from what I know.
Yeah, Crow was my coach at the All-Star game in the AHL that one year. He was coaching those good Bridgeport teams that we battled against. And he was a great guy. And then Walshy texted us about him because Walshy worked for him at Northeastern. And he thinks it's going to be a great hire. He'll add structure to those young guys. And he's just a great guy. Like, he really cares about you. And Walshy believes it's going to be a perfect fit because he has that experience with the college
What do you
kids.
think he's going to think of Zegers' TikTok hockey?
That there could be some changes there. There could be some. I mean, I don't think he cares about crazy moves, especially if they work. But it's just going to be way more team-oriented hockey. Like, there's going to be no individual stuff there. Like, I guarantee you that.
Yeah, he coached me in Toronto. He was our assistant coach.
Oh, really?
So I had him. Yeah, he's. I would say he's a different thinker a little bit with regards to stuff. He was kind of always around. Like, we'd be in the gym working out, when you were just with the guys and he'd be in there like throwing it around too. Like, I was like, get out of here, dude. You're here all day. Like, work out by yourself. Fuck, but in saying that, those are like little things.
Trying to establish dominance.
Yeah. That's what he was doing. He's flexing. He's probably seeing what guys were doing. And he's like, he kind of watches stuff and
He's like, Army, I'm watching you hold a 5-pound dumbbell doing an RLDL.
I'm like, get out of here. I'm going to fake my way through the slide board routine. Like, if you were watching me so closely. But like, he's, I would say he's a thinker of how to get better. But you're right. He's a hard ass. Like, he's going to be on those guys. Like, it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be easy for them with him coming in there. Like, it's going to change.
Neither.
It's big time change.
Well, wait, you just said you like to see new guys get a shot, and that's what's going to happen in Washington. They named former Toronto assistant Spencer Carberry their new head coach. Excuse me. It's his first NHL head coaching gig. Any of you guys familiar with him? You, Army, or Bros? You guys know anything about the guy?
Oh, I looked him up quick. I think he was down in like that South Carolina, then up in Hershey, where, like same as Bednar did in Colorado, kind of came up through that system. It seems like it's always producing pretty good coaches and stuff up that, right up all the way to Hershey.
I don't know anything about him, but I know from like hearing and reading things that he was high on the list for a lot of teams. So I feel like when a guy like this who's been around and built his resume and all of a sudden like he's getting thrown out to all these different job openings, you realize there's probably a pretty special talent there. But I don't know anything about him. I've never met him.
I think the game has changed so much, guys, to the point of, GMs going for an interview and what you have to like show. Like, I'm pretty sure like these guys would have to come in with like a full PowerPoint display. Yeah. Like, it's like you have to have just like to the detail of
your
vision
system,
of
what you'll do
lineup.
with certain players, everything.
Like how you handle situations with what, and like that's fully broken down on like your structure of your team makeup, culture, identity, playing philosophy, dealing with guys. Like, there's just so much surrounding it now that these guys have to go through. There's no question that, this guy came in with like a master plan of how to.
Is that because you did this in Pittsburgh?
Yeah. See ya, Sully. Yeah, good point, G. Good point. My computer is just loaded with excellence inside of there. I just learned how to do PowerPoints a few months ago, but it's a different game with regards to going for an interview now.
I know Benny Barr, like at UMaine that we interviewed on Game Notes. When he goes for those interviews, he would come with binders into those coaches' meetings.
You think Daryl Sutter was bringing the PowerPoint presentation?
No, I was going to say, but these old guys, there's no way they do that.
Sutter did his interview with his hand up a cow, just birthing. He was pulled out a calf. What were you saying?
Oh, shit.
He legit just goes in the meeting and says, work.
Work harder. What do we think about the power play?
Work harder.
Work it, girl.
Okay, Daryl, you got the job.
Well, sounds like a game plan.
Meanwhile, in Columbus, it doesn't appear as though they're going to go with a new guy. Mike Babcock is believed to be the next head coach.
I fucking love this hire.
Once his Leafs deal that he's still on, once that expires at the end of the month, it's believed that then the deal's going to go through. He'll be the next Columbus head coach. Seems like it was a matter of time before he got back in the league. Busy. You surprised he's going to end up in Columbus, though?
I would just love to fucking be a fly on the wall at Johnny Gaudreau's house.
Same.
He's like, wait, what?
Do you think they came to him and asked him? For sure, right? Like, you can't not.
No, I think Kekalainen, I don't think he gives a fuck. I don't. Because if Kekalainen wanted to hire him and he went to Gaudreau, and Gaudreau's like, no. Like, you can't do that. Like,
I think he went to him like, Johnny,
three guys in the league. You could do that with like McDavid, Crosby, but like, dude, if you want to hire a guy,
like Johnny, we interviewed Daryl, but all he kept saying was work in the fucking meeting, man. Like I try to go back to your guy that you had success with, but he doesn't know any other words besides work. But yeah, I mean, some of the fucking antics that Babcock used to pull off was bullshit, and like I heard his players used to hate him, even in Detroit. But you're not necessarily. I guess you don't necessarily have to like your head coach. I'm imagining he learned from that experience, so he's still a very knowledgeable hockey mind, and I'm sure he's going to whip that organization, back into that winning culture that they saw with Torts. Aside from Gaudreau, I can only imagine what Patrick Laine's thinking too. So just some of the personnel there, it's just going to be very wacky to see how it ends up working out, where we know that it's hard for them to get marquee players. So with Babcock being there, who we know is not a very enjoyable coach to play for, and the fact that it's hard to even get good free agents to come there, how is this going to overall play out? So they better hope that they're drafting and developing well in order to turn into a winner. But I don't mind the hire. I think that it's been enough time where Babcock deserves a second chance based on some of the shit that we heard he did. I think the shit that he did was bullshit, but I believe that everybody deserves a second chance, and maybe he's a different person after the layoff.
I think
maybe he's not.
I think the biggest thing,
even better.
I think the biggest thing with him is ego, right? And that's some of the stuff we hear. Like, can he kind of check that and come in and be, easier to deal with the modern player now? And that'll be, I'm sure, something that was talked about. Also, he changed the coaching game as far as like getting paid.
Oh yeah,
too. So I wonder what what this deal's gonna look like coming off of this other one, and if he's just getting his foot in the door deal, or if he's coming back in with that standard of where he's at.
He I think from my understanding, he had to like beg to get reinstated. I wouldn't be shocked if this was like a $3.5 million deal where you're getting a very good coach for a medium price tag, based on the fact that this is a prove it contract for him again. He needs to earn that trust back. So I would be shocked if he's making north of $4 million, because
I would be too.
Who
he
else
just made 50.
Right. So he's already made the money. This is more about like him just wanting to get back in the game and stay relevant, right? Where he doesn't need the dough, but I don't think any other teams are rushing out to go hire him, where Columbus can give him this opportunity, and it's really like a no-lose situation for them.
Imagine like he goes into the interview and he's like, before Yarmo speaks, he's like, listen, I've like learned my lesson. Like, I know you can't treat people like I should. And Yarmo's like, no. I don't want you to change a thing. He's like, oh yes, I'm gonna fucking torture these guys.
Yeah.
He pulls up his slide. He pulls up his like PowerPoint. First thing, like he's like, "Hi, I'm Mike Babcock, ex-coach, pretty good coach." Anyway, then he slides to the next one, just a picture of Liney in a goofy suit. And he's like, "This fucking guy,
This fucking
Yarmo,
guy.
let me get this guy." He's like, hired.
Perfect.
He made it through one slide.
Gaudreau's going to try to get out of town on his jet ski. Fucking
Imagine
get on the
Hazy
backcountry.
gets traded to Columbus and goes from Ports to Babs.
Oh my God. Pray for
brutal.
Hazy.
All right. One last coaching note here. Both Joe Quenneville and Stan Bowman have requested meetings with Bettman to discuss potential reinstatements. We mentioned before that they have to sit down with Bettman, get approval from him. We don't know what the parameters
Kiss
are
the
or whatever,
ring.
but kiss the ring basically to get back in. I mean, nothing's guaranteed. I don't know what would happen for Bettman to not approve it, but that's in the works as well. And a big signing as well. We hadn't got to that yet. The Habs locked up Cole Caulfield. We talked to his coach last week, Marty St. Louis. He spoke very highly of him. He's sort of like a protege of some sorts, I guess. But he's got a 8-year deal at $7.85 million per year as a modified no trade clause in the last 3. The deal will keep him there through 2030, 2031. He's still only going to be 30 years old when this deal ends. Merles, how much of a bargain do you think this contract will be in, say, 4 years?
I mean, I like Caulfield, and when we met him at the Sandbagger, such a nice kid. His dad was a great guy. But when I'm watching that finals game last night, if he's in that game, is he doing anything? Like, is he getting around those big D? Is he going to win you a championship against teams like that? I can't see it. Like,
Merle,
He's
small
Marchessault. He's
I know he'd
Marchessault.
have to have stuff around him, like exactly. Like Marchessault's the only small player. So if you have a bunch of big guys, big meats, I could see it. But I mean, I more look at it like I think Caulfield is going to get 35 to 45 goals the next 8 years. As long as he's healthy, and under $8 million. If that's if you're getting that many goals, it's like I kind of love it. Now, granted, Montreal is a long way to go, but when I saw that number come in under 8, that's a win to me in terms of like Kent Hughes.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That much goal production, and you're not paying over $8 million in the cap. I think in 4 years the cap could be up $8 million, right?
So it's all that uncertainty.
Bettman's got to say.
He how many games did he miss? What happened to him at the end of the year?
Shoulder.
So, you say, okay, why would you take an 8-year deal? Why don't you do the Matthews move and slide as the cap rolls up? Like, it's stupid, but a smaller guy, his shoulder, like, can it happen again? When do goals dry up? You have a few years. So he set himself, he just took the certainty. He took the certainty with all the risk. And I think you guys interviewed Marty. You had him on the pod. Great guy, smart guy, connects with Caulfield. So I think there's some really big positives for him to obviously take that deal and the long-term, nature of it as well, even though there could be potential. Could he be a 50-goal guy? Could he be that guy? So it's like, okay, maybe, but I like where I'm at. I like that the coach believes in me, and there's, I'll sign for that.
I think it's a win-win deal for player team.
Yeah.
Which you don't often say.
Yeah.
And Marty said he was like great in the locker room, and he just brings the energy for the whole team every day. That's stuff we don't get to always see, and that's very valuable.
They call those intangibles.
Intangible, great word, Biz.
Thank you.
Positivity runs through the team through Cole Caulfield.
That's important.
And he's got a nickname, the Cock. $60 million in the bank and nickname the Cock. Kid's doing pretty good. 0-1 in Sandbaggers, though.
Suck it.
Before Bettman's press conference, he was on TV with you, Biz. He got a little shot in as well, huh? For Bettman getting a little dig at Biz.
I'm getting
Didn't see
canned
that
from
coming.
TNT. I got fucking Connor Bedard, 17 years old, put me in body bags. I got Doobie unfollow me on Twitter. I gotta go to bed, boys. I'm in loser mode right now with no sleep.
Yeah,
Got a
almost
PJ
there.
with Wayno though, like to
That's
cap
true.
it off.
At least I got to use Wayno's chopsticks.
Vegas will do that to everybody. Vegas will get you.
Chopsticks.
You just mentioned the cap. It's only going to go up $1 million next year because they haven't paid all the escrow off. But it does sound like he's being conservative, and it's going to go up a few million the next time around. So only $1 million. They brought up the Valerie Nichushkin thing going on with Colorado. Remember, he suddenly left the team during the middle of the playoffs. Well, apparently they found a drunk woman in his room. That was the story. Then they released the cop footage this week, the cop camera, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this looks bad." Blah blah blah. And I was like, there was a drunk girl in an ambulance. They talked to the doctor. Like, I don't know, and everybody made a big deal. I mean, there was nothing you could draw like anything conclusive from, and nothing's going to happen. Like what Bettman said, actually, it was Bill Daly. We know exactly what happened, and we think it was handled appropriately, said Bill Daly, who also credited the Avs with how the thing was handled. So I don't know if he just got buckled, had a broad in the room or whatever, but I don't know. People seem to be jumping at wild conclusions based off that.
He just disappeared.
They got him out.
Dubai.
He's going to join the Live Tour. Yeah, nothing to lose your head over.
And that was a big loss for Colorado. If he's there, they probably win. They win that series, and then it's a whole different story.
Yeah, it sounded like he might have had a personal issue as well. That he's not getting disciplined by anybody. So I don't. He didn't break any rules.
This is why you have Baza in the KHL. These guys can't be trusted. You got to put them in the military base, armed guards out front, so they don't sneak out.
A dog shock collar on these guys when they're on the road.
Let's see. Oh, did you see that clip? Dominik Hasek. Apparently, the Czech Hockey Hall of Fame is either closing its doors or they're relocating. And then Dominik Hasek got a shopping carriage, putting all his old pads and shit in. Like, what? It's like, dude, it's fucking Hasek. You can't have somebody help him. It was just so trash looking.
Oh, nice to see he put the phone down from going after Ovi on Twitter.
Yeah, it was like depressing to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
It was like depressing. Like, what happened? This thing went out of business, and he's there with these old pads. It was.
Yeah. How does a Hall of Fame go out of business?
Yeah. Well, I read one thread. I couldn't confirm that they actually relocated to another place, but like they couldn't. Oh, don't worry, Mr. Hasek. We'll take care of that for you. He said he's like show up with like a stolen Target fucking shopping cart to get all his fucking shit out of there. I don't know what the hell's going on. Did you see the new 30 for 30 coming out? It's going to be about the Mighty Ducks of Anaheim, how they came into the league.
I checked that out when you texted it to the group. That looks good.
Yeah, it looks real good. And the 30 for 30s, they started off hot wit, but they definitely took a bit of a nosedive after a while. I think they kind of milked it a little bit too much, but the Mighty Ducks one looks dynamite. They got Korea. He's on it too. He doesn't do a lot of interviews, so looking good there. What else we got here?
I like those Unbroken. Is that what it's called, or what is it? What are those ones? What are those other ones? RA.
Yeah, they came out last year, right? Or 2 years ago.
Those ones are good.
Ones.
Those ones are real. I said it wrong. It can't be.
I love a good documentary, right?
So do
especially sport related. Just give us the in-depth story of like how things were created. I think that'll be a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did you watch the Reggie Jackson one yet, Whit, on Prime? I know he was a little before your time. It's good shit, man. He was such a huge star in the 70s. He kind of gets into that, why he was kind of an asshole to people and all that stuff. If you're looking for a good sports doc, and the Michael J. Fox one.
Why was he an asshole to people?
He was cocky, arrogant. He was surly with the press all the time, and he gets into it. He was just kind of angry at the world, angry going through the world. And he was a fucking stud, man. He was a hell of a player. Plus, he's a black athlete in the 70s too, so things were way more amplified back then as well. So, did you see Still Wit on Apple Plus, the one about Michael J. Fox?
Nope.
Yeah, good shit, real. He's, awesome dude. He talks about having the Parkinson's, but they go over his whole career and stuff. And he's like, don't feel bad for me. I don't want you to pity me. And you don't, you're like, you watch it and your inclination is to be like, oh man, this poor guy. And he's like, no, like he swears shit. He's like, fuck that. Don't feel bad for me. Either way, check it out. It's very inspiring. I'm sure
that
you'll
guy is
Back to the Future. Incredible movie.
That's the best movie for like any age group of human being. The trilogy of Back to the Future is unbelievable. That guy was just such a star. Teen Wolf, all that shit. Like
Teen Wolf was awesome. I love Teen Wolf.
Oh, Teen Wolf was sick. I think he's boys with 99.
Was he on the jet last night, Busy? Is Biz sleeping?
Biz is asleep, guys.
I'm just resting my eyes. I'm listening.
Number one TV show and number one movie. He was the stud back in the day.
Yeah.
All right. One last note here. We want to send condolences to Carolina coach Rod Brindamore and his family on the loss of his dad. Bob Brindamore passed away last week. So, again, we extend our sympathies. And there's some sad news out of Vegas as well. Marc-Andre Fleury, the dog who was kind of the unofficial mascot, he passed away as well. I think he was about 15 years old. They had him driving around in the car and stuff. He had a lot of cool little moments for the little dog.
Fleury.
Yeah, it was like a fun moment for the team when it first got there. And as a dog lover, that sucks to see. So it was nice to see that they sent out a nice post about it. And hey, rest in peace, Marc-Andre Fleury. Did Marc-Andre Fleury have to say anything about it?
Has he made a statement?
Haven't checked yet. Yeah, I'm going to get on that. Okay, actually, one last thing. Congrats to the Quebec Ramparts, they beat Seattle Thunderbirds 5-0 to take home the Memorial Cup for the third time in their history. And actually, interesting, Seattle, that's only the first time they played for the Memorial Cup. And that was a whole bunch of speculation because Ramparts coach Patrick Roy is going to go pro, blah, blah, blah. But Molly Walker from the New York Post already come out. The Rangers like, no, he's not on our list. We won't be interviewing him. So I don't know.
I think we'll see him again, though.
I'd love to, man. Yeah.
And Sam Gagner, or not Sam Gagner, sorry. Who's his assistant coach there? Played for the Flyers. Gagner.
No way, Simone Gagner.
Oh, Simone. Yeah. Simone Gagner. Sorry, I forgot his first name. My bad.
Man Rocket.
Yeah, he was assistant coach with Patrick too. So pretty good combination there with Patrick and junior hockey, and their team was number 1 in the country. I got to go watch a game when I was at the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. Shout out to Cam Thompson, got me tickets for that, winning the Memorial Cup. Good dude. The team
they were trucking everyone at the Mem Cup too, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like what Vegas is doing right now.
Yeah, that's what they did. I saw Barzal, your boy there, busy. All our boys. Barzy was at the game watching his Seattle Thunderbirds.
All right, boys. PGA Tour boys. Holy shit! I gotta go read about this.
Bunch of fucking frauds.
Fraudzillas. But thank you so much to everyone listening. We're hoping for some better games. We'll be getting in the mix. Biz, you keep crushing on TV. Great job, buddy. You get some sleep now. And Army and Merles, thank you guys as always for joining on, especially Merles. I know it's real early back out west, so we appreciate all the listeners as always. It's an exciting time of year. Only going to get even crazier. I think that the draft and free agency will be way more entertaining than this Cup Finals, Ben.
Rest those pipes, Merles.
Game notes coming Friday, boys. Game notes coming Friday.
All right.
We got a pod episode. We have a pod episode of Game Notes this week as well. We got Game Notes daily on game days, and we have a pod episode dropping this Friday morning.
Fucking rights, boys.
Army's going to be blowing his boy Doobie all over fucking Game Notes.
Wait. Maybe we'll get him on. Get him on.
One last thing. I was watching the game with my dad last night.
Here's one for Doobie.
Oh, Jesus.
There you go, traitor.
My old man goes, hey, he's like, that Merle's a pretty good looking kid, huh? I was like, yeah, Merle's a stud. He goes, how old is he? I was like, I think he's like 38. I was like, oh, he's 43. He's like, he's 43. Holy shit. Tell him he looks great for his age. So I think my old man got the huts for you, Merle's.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I'm not feeling and looking as good as I did 4 nights ago. I can tell you that. And then
I'm sure Lauderdale will help.
I've checked my phone. I was checking my phone 100 times yesterday, waiting for the text from Biz that there's an open seat on the Gretzky plane. Obviously didn't come. So I'm on Spirit Airlines tomorrow at the liquor
military grade seat.
You would have been sitting in the bathroom like I did with Mario.
There was an empty seat, but it was for his Louis Vuitton luggage. The great one.
Hey, shout out
awesome. Our seats were right next to your guys' table, so we got to watch you guys the whole night. It was so fun.
It was a blast, buddy. You guys were buzzing.
G, shout out to Pasha too, who made us that. I missed Game Notes Daily the other day, but he made us this sick intro to our show, guys. Oh, it's sick. He put together this really cool thing for us. So
maybe we'll get one of those one of these days, considering I'm paying half his fucking salary. Hey, Pasha, he's probably in Ibiza with fucking models right now, telling me edits the Sandbaggers, the charcuterie god. Shit. All right. Love you, boys.
Have a great week, everyone. Pay attention to our social media to see where we will be in Fort Lauderdale and Vegas. Don't even dare, Jay.